Oh, are we live?
Now we are.
Oh, okay, cool. I was concerned. I wasn't sure. You said 3, 2, 1, and then made a weird sound.
Oh, yeah. I just didn't want to.
That wasn't like. Oh, okay.
Yeah. We made it back from Yellowstone.
We did make it back from. I don't know which camera to look at.
Those ones for now.
But those ones are all the way over there for me. Yeah, we haven't totally gotten this studio set up for live stuff yet. It's mainly our pre-record, as you can see from the History Unhinged thing, which we're gonna hope nothing falls off midstream.
It didn't during the recording.
It didn't. You're correct. But yeah, we were gone a while. We drove from Philadelphia to Bozeman, which the drive out was actually not bad at all. I had a good time. I enjoyed it.
It was fun to get the road trip in. It was fun to be able to put some more pins on my map when we returned.
Yeah, Lincoln, Nebraska was surprisingly fun.
Shockingly fun place. Yeah.
We met a couple of great dudes out there. They run a little bar called The Other Room. It's a speakeasy. If you're in Lincoln, Nebraska ever, check it out. They were phenomenal bartenders. Yep. I mean, just like I hate gin. I do not like gin. They were making gin drinks that I was guzzling.
You would have hated this bachelor party.
Was it all gin?
For whatever reason, all of the shot. We finished like 3 bottles. Not we, because I wasn't drinking.
Gins, not tragedies.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, I got you. Also, other thing, this is from Threat Llama. I mean, we have a whole like little thing planned for the other ones he sent us, but that's for History Unhinged. Here on Lore Lodge, it's a Nods wizard. It's a wizard with night vision goggles.
Yeah.
And you can't see it, but he's carrying a weapon of firearm style down there.
And arguably probably not the one you're imagining.
No, definitely not the one you're imagining. It's really more like the German STG-44, I think.
Yeah.
That was what it was called?
It looks like it, yeah.
I believe so, yeah. So no, we had an amazing time out there. So much fun. Cheyenne, Wyoming was a cool little town. Unfortunately, we missed Frontier Days by literally 1 day.
Yes.
So that was a little sad. We should have vlogged more than we did. We planned to, but we were kind of caught up with the whole driving 30 hours part. Now, coming back from Montana was terrible.
We were so tired by that point, and it was a 4-day trip out.
We took we only drove 3 days to get back, which on the one hand, I really needed that rest day before writing the video none of you watched.
Brutal.
I'm not blaming you guys. I ran the poll earlier today and almost all of you were like, yeah, so I either am busy with back to school stuff. I have it queued up because that's just how I do this. And then 60% of you were like, YouTube just didn't show it to me.
Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah. So, but no, going out took a little bit longer. Going back didn't take as long, but was a lot less fun. And in a lot of ways, that's kind of like the subject matter of what we're going to discuss tonight, because
it's true.
Aiden and I took the opportunity of, being in the car for 60 hours to listen to not one, but 2 audiobooks on the Lewis and Clark expedition, one of which was mainly to get the whole story of Lewis and Clark, and the other of which was the part I'm bringing to you soon, which is an in-depth, in detail episode on whether or not Meriwether Lewis was murdered. Because I don't know, I didn't learn a lot about Lewis and Clark in school.
Oh, I imagine how much I did.
Yeah, it's a fair point. Like for us, it was basically like, and Thomas Jefferson bought Louisiana, and then Lewis and Clark just went to the West Coast, and Sacagawea helped.
Okay, so it was the same.
That was basically all we got.
Yeah.
No,
I don't think we talked about them beyond middle school.
No, not really. It was just like a little vague bit about what Lewis and Clark were up to. First of all, I want you to put your guesses in right now. And if you watch History Unhinged, you'll get this again in a couple of weeks. But I want you to put your guesses in right now for what the percentage. Send it as a super chat if you want, just saying. But you don't have to. But put your guesses in now as a percentage of what percent of the trip you think was over land.
Yeah, I'm going to wait, give it a little time because there's a delay. I want to see what people say here.
Me too.
Because it's interesting.
You will be, unless you're like an American history buff, you will probably be somewhat shocked.
Yep.
It was astonishing to me. I did not know that river was that long.
While we wait for those percentages, terms of percentages as well of importance on this journey, the overblown percentages that Sacagawea had.
Yeah, you guys have been watching this show for a while. You know that I am not one to needlessly knock Native Americans. I do my best to give a very accurate, proper picture of the way things go.
You generally, in fact, do the opposite.
Yeah, I've been accused of being a little too friendly, which I think is stupid, but somebody got mad at me on one of our more recent videos. I think it's something that had to do with the Lakota, about me being like too nice about the Lakota. Meanwhile, in our video about the Donner Party, where I did talk about Lewis and Clark briefly, I very explicitly referred to the part where Clark called them the Pirates of the Mississippi.
Yeah.
Or the Pirates of the Missouri. One of the two. I think it was the Pirates of the Missouri. Yeah. So I'm like, hey, come on, man. But yeah, it's Sacagawea. They're like, and Sacagawea guided Lewis and Clark across America. And it's like, she only joined up with them halfway through, and her role was as an interpreter when they got to the Shoshone so they could ask for horses. And then they didn't really use her, which, to be fair, was stupid.
She also wasn't alone. She was with her husband.
She was with her husband and the baby.
Yeah.
They also didn't tell us that she was 15.
Yeah, that was shocking.
She was 15. Her French husband is like 50, because of course he's French.
Of course.
Also, he wasn't the only French guy on the expedition. And that's the other thing. Like, I'll go through this. I'm going to start at the beginning and kind of go through a little bit, because it's just such a crazy story overall. The sheer number of ridiculous things that happened, and the fact that they didn't come back, look over their notes, and then write a narrative. Everything we know about the Lewis and Clark expedition comes from their own writing.
Yes.
And like, as they were on the trip, it's not edited. It's not that they sat down and thought, okay, how do we want to present this to people? Lewis never actually, he was supposed to do that. He never did. He died first.
Yeah.
And Clark,
to be fair, he did have the time. He just didn't do it.
Did he have the time?
That's a good point. Theoretically, he had the time.
Yeah, Jefferson's like, hey, Lewis, I'm glad you're back. So first of all, I need you to go to Philadelphia and tell everybody everything about science. And then I need you to write a book about your expedition. And I also need you to do this while being the governor of Louisiana. What's Louisiana? We just found out.
Yeah, you found it for me.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's the other thing is Jefferson's like, hey, Napoleon, can I have New Orleans? And Napoleon's like, you want Louisiana? And Jefferson's like, what's Louisiana? And Napoleon goes, I don't know, man. I'm new here.
Wait, and in terms of figuring
out,
out,
I've never been there.
Yeah, in terms of figuring out what was Louisiana, the amount of time that they spent finding that out on land was, get ready for it, 15%.
Yep, they did almost the entire trip in a boat. Well, several boats actually.
Yeah,
and one iron folding boat that Lewis spent like a month and a half supervising the construction of, and then it didn't work.
Constructed by a raging alcoholic.
Oh, no, that was the keel boat they bought in Pittsburgh.
Right.
Yeah, like I said, the whole story, I'm so excited to do this like Donner Party style, which is my plan, I'm probably going to do it in 2 videos, partially because just, return on investment. And also partially because the Donner Party video was 2.5 hours long and it took us 3 days to shoot.
Yeah, and it also was hell for me to edit, so...
Granted, back then we were not using a teleprompter. I was writing my notes by hand and then memorizing them, then reading them to the camera, and then memorizing them, reading them. Yeah. Now it'll go a lot faster. But it is still going to be like 4 or 5 hours of video.
Yep. And it will go slower for me now because I do all the sourcing lists and all of that. So
I'll make a map for you.
I'll still write out where I got the map pictures from.
You're so good. You're an amazing person.
I will say it has been slightly helpful ever since we started doing the source lists that are now in the descriptions. Because
so if you need something you already did.
Exactly. So I don't have to research it. So that wasn't a pun.
I was like, are you sure?
Are you sure?
Yeah. So no, I forget where I was. Oh, right, the boat. Yeah, no, like they stop in Pittsburgh on their way to go start the trip. And Lewis is like, hey, I need a boat. Can anybody in Pittsburgh build a boat? And there was one guy.
which, considering what Pittsburgh is situated on, is shocking.
Yeah, Pittsburgh is at the confluence of the Allegheny and Monongahela rivers where they become the Ohio. Mm-hmm. One guy who could build a boat. They had a lot of people who could build like canoes and barges. Only one guy could build a proper keel boat.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah. So,
and he could barely build it.
oh yeah, and that's the thing is Lewis is like, can you do this for me in this period of time? The guy's like, sure. And then he could not stop drinking. And his own workers hated his drinking so much that they quit.
Yep.
And Lewis is sitting there like Clark's in, I think, where was he? At this point,
he was like off on like a side quest.
he was like down in like Louisville, or he was somewhere further down the river, down the Ohio, waiting for Lewis and just chilling because Lewis was taking too long.
Yeah.
But also that's the other thing is Meriwether Lewis is this guy who you hear a little bit about. You're like, oh, that's the guy that led the expedition with Clark. He was potentially the greatest American to ever live.
Yeah.
Like, had he lived past, what, 32, 35, somewhere in there?
Yeah.
Had he lived on into old age, he probably would have become president. I can't imagine he wouldn't have. Not that he should have been. But, I mean, this is a man who is born in, I think, 1774, 1775. He is the oldest son. And then his dad, when he's like 5 years old, goes and just dies. His dad is a captain in the Revolutionary War, but that's not how he dies. He comes home, and then as he's leaving home, he falls off his horse into a river, gets pneumonia, and dies when Lewis is 5. And so, yeah, Lewis like goes off on these weird adventures as a child. Yeah. He goes to Georgia. He's out in a pioneer frontier colony in Georgia. And also, what were some of the answers for the percentages?
Oh, they were all over the place. Let me scroll back up really quickly here.
While you do that, yeah. So there's this incident when he's in Georgia and their camp gets attacked by Native Americans. And as everybody else is scrambling around trying to get weapons and prepare defensive positions, he's the only one at age like 9 who has the wherewithal to douse the fire.
Yeah.
So from that point on in the story, and this is definitely how Stephen Ambrose, the author of Undaunted Courage, puts it, from that point on in the story, Lewis is, you can see the destiny there, but I did not know he was Jefferson's personal secretary. I did not know he was a captain in the army. I did not know that he went to Philadelphia and became like a polymath in 6 weeks.
Yeah, that was honestly one of the coolest parts of the story. He basically just had a crash course in everything he needed to know while he was out there.
Yeah, you could make a montage of it.
Yeah.
Like Aiden and I we've already discussed that we're writing like a Netflix or HBO miniseries, and we're going to try and sell it about Lewis because
the story is perfectly set up for a 2-season arc.
Oh, yeah. And when I titled this stream The Greatest American Adventure Story Ever Told, I meant it because just I've said on a number of occasions that you don't need to embellish history. You don't necessarily need historical fiction because history itself is that entertaining.
To the point where sometimes it's so remarkable that if it was fiction, you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, exactly. Like and it feels like it in this case with Meriwether Lewis being who he is. It's like, oh yeah, sure. This random son of a plantation owner from Virginia somehow became not only the perfect soldier, but also a master botanist and a zoologist, and he started doing ethnography. Yeah, sure, buddy. Like you've overpowered this character. That's just who he was. He must have been so intelligent.
And he got shot through the ass.
Yes.
And did not really have any problems from it.
Yeah, his main issue is he was like, this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
They're talking about he's like walking 4 weeks later after being shot through both cheeks by a 54 caliber musket ball.
Yeah. It is a minor inconvenience.
Just what?
Yeah.
What?
Also, like, his entire party consistently is they're eating 9 pounds of meat a day. They're working so hard and they go to bed hungry, and they are consistently so tired. They're like, we want to go, like, stop. But Lewis is such a good leader that they never do.
Yeah, it just keeps on going. They basically stop for the winters, and that's it.
Yeah.
And they did not have fun during the winters. It also shows you, definitely gives you an idea of why the attitude towards some of the tribes was what it was, because some of these stories, they're like, they have like friendly relationships and they're trading, and they just, people like certain tribes just won't stop stealing from them constantly. And then there's others that are like, no, please take these horses.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you need food, we'll give it to you. Like some of the tribes, and Lewis was very blunt about it, some of the tribes are super friendly and helpful, and then other ones are openly hostile. But the ones he hated the most, he didn't hate the Blackfeet that much. He killed one, but he didn't hate him that much. Based on the way that he and Clark talk, they hated the Sioux. Like, they could not stand the Sioux, and there was never open conflict with the Sioux. They were just such a pain to deal with. And then like the Mandan, they get up to the Fort Mandan, and they're like, man, those Sioux guys are rough. And the Mandan are like, oh my God, fuck them. And the funny part is, for most of these tribes, it was their first encounter with Americans. Yeah. They'd met British sometimes, they'd met French sometimes, they'd never met Americans. So Lewis and Clark coming through is like not only the natives' first experience with these people, but also our first experience with them. And nobody could properly speak each other's language. At one point, you had somebody translating, I think it was like, was it Arikara? Yeah, Arikara to Hidatsa to French to English.
Which is insane.
So it's no wonder that they had all these moments along the journey where there were misunderstandings and people didn't understand what was going on. And
yeah, most of the problems they encountered other than the Sioux were
language barrier.
Yeah, language barrier, miscommunications.
The Sioux, the problem was not a language barrier. The Sioux were just awful. Yeah, like the Teton Sioux were just a pain.
So funny. Also, in terms of your question about some of the percentage guesses, we had 99, 21, 25, 60, 85, 75, 30, 50. Phantom of Time guessed correctly with 15%. And then 40, 10, 10, 35, 35, 20, 20, 95, 50. So all over the map.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did you guys know that the Missouri River originates in western Montana?
We drove over it like 3 times.
Yeah. It goes west.
Yeah.
I did not. I thought it was over in like Nebraska.
Yeah, I had no idea it went that far either.
Yeah, it's crazy. But that's the thing is, like, when Jefferson's like, can I have New Orleans? Napoleon goes, you can have Louisiana. And Jefferson's like, what's that? And Napoleon's like, fuck if I know. What they basically said was it's as far west and north as the Missouri goes.
It's a long way.
So Lewis and Clark had 2 objectives. One of them was find the headwaters of the Missouri, and the other was see if you can take the river all the way to the west coast. And they almost did.
Yeah.
But the Rockies.
Yeah, I'm amazed at how much they really thought they were going to be able to, because they knew the mountains were there. Oh, well, that's the thing, is Jefferson kept thinking they were like the Appalachians.
Yeah, Jefferson thought they were like the Appalachians.
Yeah.
He also thought there might be mastodons.
Yeah. To be fair,
there were some old Native American legends about, like, you know, driving the mastodons across the big river, and so he assumed that's what that was about.
Yep. A reasonable assumption at the time.
Yeah, that's the thing, is you forget how little people knew in general about everything we know now.
Yeah.
But this was the first time that anybody had gone all the way across North America, at least this part of it. Alexander Mackenzie had done it about 10 years earlier, but he didn't find the water route either, and he also kind of got confused about where he was. But this is the first time any Americans had traveled all the way across the continent. It was the first time that section had been traversed. They were the first white people to encounter some of these tribes, and they really do have these interesting experiences where, like, the Arikara, they had a great time with the Arikara. Yeah, got along very well with the Mandans, with the Nez Perce, the Shoshone, but then some of the other groups they did have trouble with. There were some Salish tribes they didn't get along with very well. The Blackfeet, who were Algonquian, they didn't get along with them well at all. There was a gunfight. Lewis got shot through the ass by his own man, potentially.
Yeah, the brutalist friendly fire.
Yeah. And then after it's all over, they give him all these responsibilities, and then everybody's asking why he keeps not getting things done. And he's so devoted and so unwilling to disappoint Jefferson that instead of writing back to Jefferson and being like, hey man, I'm really busy, I need a minute, he just doesn't answer him. He's like, I'm better to ask forgiveness, I guess.
Yeah, literally leaves him on red.
Yeah. And then, and this is why I say it's a perfect, like, already pre-built movie or TV show. There are villains naturally occurring at every single stage, and it goes through all of the different kinds of conflict. You've got man versus self, you've got man versus environment, you have man versus man, man versus spirit, like,
Yeah.
man versus God, man versus syphilis, and man versus malaria, and man versus dysentery.
There were a lot of diseases. Yeah.
Only one of them died
Which is shocking.
during the trip. It was of like a fever.
Well, that is, to be fair, Clark brought a lot, or no, sorry, Lewis brought a lot of meds.
But also, to be fair, they were 12 parts mercury, 1 part chloride.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Or was it Rush's pills?
Oh, yeah.
Benjamin Rush. Foremost American physician of the time. First American medical textbook ever written by him. Also took the Chinese emperor method of medicine. Now, it did seem to work.
It did seem to work. And at the time, if you've watched History Unhinged, you know why people thought mercury made sense. At the time, logic.
It did make you feel better.
Yeah.
And also killed whatever was hurting you while also hurting you.
Yeah, it was kind of like radiation
Yeah.
that you could drink.
Chemotherapy.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy how, like, today we look back and we're like, oh, that's so silly. Taking arsenic to treat something, and then if we get cancer, we go plug a bunch of chemicals into our veins.
Yep.
That kill us.
Yep.
And we just hope it kills the cancer first.
Yep.
We're doing so good as a species, guys.
Hey, incremental improvements, right?
Incremental improvements. And speaking of syphilis, back in the 1940s, we cured that, and then the CDC kept an experiment going on it for another 30 years.
We got a video on it, guys.
Yeah, we
Check it
do.
out.
The Tuskegee experiment is probably the most messed up thing our government has ever done. Although there's a list. There is certainly a list, and it's on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what we learned about Haiti earlier was not great.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the next the episode of History Unhinged we shot today is oh boy.
If you think you know what's going on in Haiti, you don't know what's going on in Haiti. And by that I mean it's been going on for hundreds of years.
It's been going on the whole time.
From the beginning.
Don't read into that. Don't read into that and assume you know what we're saying, because I promise you don't.
We recommend watching the next episode of History Unhinged.
Yeah, it was. Steven knows everything about Haiti.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you could watch his video from a year and a half ago.
Yeah. And one of the big problems with Haiti, of course, was the slave revolts and the aftermath of the slave revolts, which made things different, but not necessarily better.
Yeah, because then their government was like, hey, we have so much debt to France that we can't afford to do it without remaking the plantations again.
So they just put them right back, sharecropped themselves.
Yep.
But, on the topic of slavery, probably my favorite part of the entire Lewis and Clark story.
York.
Clark had a slave named York. And Clark had a much more, like, ancient style of slave owner relationship with York.
Yeah, you're going to have to explain this in relative
so
depth here.
When we think about American slavery, we typically think of chattel slavery, which is, people basically just being worked to death on plantations. And that is basically how it went. Eventually they figured out that, and the French in Haiti did not figure this out, but eventually American slave owners realized that, if you kept the slaves alive and fed them properly and, didn't do anything in your power to kill them within 2 to 3 years, that was a lot more profitable overall. Still bad, but not as bad as Haiti. And that's not to say like, oh, look, we did slavery right. It's more to say like there are levels of brutality. There are levels of brutality. And more importantly, there was a a very major difference in the life of slaves and how slavery developed and the way it went, because you did have slaves who got married, had kids. Unfortunately, those kids were then also enslaved. And then, England's thirst for cotton kept the trade going, or kept slavery going longer than it needed to.
The main point we're trying to communicate is that slavery was so bad in Haiti that the average lifespan of a slave in Haiti was only 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Didn't matter your age.
Meanwhile, over here, you had slaves living into their 50s and 60s.
Again,
Yeah.
slavery is still bad,
Yes.
but
There's levels of bad.
yes.
It was worse there. Tragedy here. Horrible thing. Glad we got rid of it. Get boned, South. Eat it. Sherman did nothing wrong. Sherman might have done a few things wrong. That might have been a little much.
Revisionist history a little bit here.
Oh boy. Grant did nothing wrong though.
He never could.
No, Grant was perfect. I don't know much
Alcoholism
about Grant.
and all.
I don't know much about Grant beyond he won a lot of battles and he drank a lot.
My favorite thing about Grant is that just he didn't want to do anything he ever had to do.
That's fair.
Just every decision in life was made for him, in the sense that like everybody essentially started with his dad telling him he was going to go to military school. And he was like, but I don't want to. And his dad was like, yeah, but you are. And he was like, okay. And then he got there. He was like, I just want to read my novels. Like, and he talks about them in his autobiography. Like, they were horrible books, but I wanted to read only them. I didn't want to do any work. And then he discovered math isn't too bad. So he was like, I want to graduate and teach math. And then they were like, no, you have to actually be in the army. He was like, I don't want to do that. And they're like,
You have to win the Civil War.
well, not yet. This was the Mexican-American War.
Oh, God, yeah.
And he was in that, and then he kept getting promoted, and he was like, I don't want to do that. And they were like, yeah, but you're gonna. And then eventually it got to the point where it was the Civil War, and they were like, you have to lead the Union. And he's like, but I don't wanna. And they were like, yeah, but you're gonna. And then it ends, and then Lincoln dies, and they're like, we need a president. Everybody looks at Grant, and he's like, I really don't wanna. Yeah, but you're gonna. And then he didn't drink for 4 years, despite being a raging alcoholic, because he never did what he wanted to do. And then as soon as he was no longer president, immediately went back to the bottle.
You know what? He's so real for that.
Yep.
Like, absolutely based.
Yep. And then he gave a bunch of money to his son to invest, and then his son lost it in a Ponzi scheme. And the reason he wrote his autobiography was so that way his family had money before he died. And then he finished the book and then died that day.
No notes. Flawless life.
Yes.
Nailed it at every point.
It couldn't have gone better.
Literally drank his way into office. Yeah. Like, truly an incredible series of events. Anyway, the point of this digression was to say that back in ancient, like, Rome, you had household slaves. And you did have household slaves who were treated better in America. Sometimes treated a little too well. Looking at some people who may or may not have had kids with them.
Who's Sally?
Yeah. So anyway, York was more that variety, where he had grown up with Clark. They were very close friends. He did at one point want Clark to free him, and then Clark didn't, which wasn't cool. Not cool, Clark.
Wait. Lewis or Clark?
Clark. York was Clark's slave.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Lewis's opinion on slavery is very confusing. He seemed to be in the Jefferson camp, where he like detested it, but also wouldn't
Permitted it.
Wouldn't give it up.
Yeah.
That's a whole thing for another time.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a lot to go into there. It seems like he did not bring any slaves with him to St. Louis, nor did he bring any with him out west. Like they worked on his family's plantation, but he didn't. It seems like he didn't go out of his way to have any personal ones, which I guess is for the time better.
A little bit.
Better than what York was up to, or Clark was up to.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Definitely not better than what York was up to.
No, what York was up to. York gets out there, right? They're going up the Missouri. York is allowed to carry a rifle, which is wild for the time. It shows you how much Clark trusted him. York's allowed to carry a rifle. He's a full member of the group. He's doing all the things. It might be that he was promised his freedom and then not given it. Again, haven't looked as much into the Clark side. More on the Lewis thing right now. But when they get to the Arikara, they observe a strange ritual that these people have. which is that they're sitting around the fire one night, and they see that the younger men will bring their wives to this gathering and beg the older men to know them in the biblical sense, because they believed that these older men, their wisdom, their skill at things like hunting, all of this could be passed through having intercourse with the same woman. And Lewis and Clark and the 30 men with them were like, that's pretty wild right there. You guys can go do that if you want, to like their boys.
Yeah.
Who the Arikara were like, oh, you are almighty hunters.
Yeah. The Arikara were asking them to.
They were literally asking them to. And so eventually, probably not even eventually, probably first things first, the native women notice York, who is a huge, jacked guy with skin as dark as night. And they've never seen this.
Yeah.
They have literally never in their lives seen this. So the women are all about him. And the men are looking at this guy like, you must have great power. And York's like, I do. So one of the Arikara men begs York, probably did not require all that much convincing, begs York to come back to his home and
know his wife.
And stands guard outside the door while the deed is done to ensure that he can accumulate some of York's power through the act. And then York gets passed around like a peace pipe.
Yeah. Every single man in the tribe wants him to know their wife.
Yeah, he's having a great time, an amazing time. And over you know, Aiden, how a lot of the times terms like magic and things like that don't translate like very well into Native American languages and back are referred to as medicine.
Yes.
And the name they gave York, the nickname, his Native American name in Arikara, was Big Medicine. They were walking around out there with a guy who laid so much pipe that they called him Big Medicine.
It's just, I can't even imagine the joy that York.
He was like, when he got back, he's telling everybody.
Yeah. Well, and I was saying when we were in the car, I was like, the stories they all must have told when they came back to the East Coast, no wonder westward expansion exploded.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't the only thing exploding.
Hey.
So they also brought back so much syphilis.
Oh, yeah. Like a ton. I did not realize it was so prolific in the native tribes before whites got there.
Oh, that's where we got it.
That's where it started?
Oh, syphilis is a New World disease. Columbus brought it back to Europe. Now, there is some evidence that it might have been in Europe before Columbus, but we're not sure because there are several different diseases that cause the same kind of lesions on your bones. Syphilis being one of them. It is possible that the Vikings brought it back. It is possible that it came from the east, like far east.
Yep.
But it appears the current belief is that Columbus picked it up here from native women. I don't need to get into how they probably acquired it.
Yeah,
it's a family show. So yeah, they brought back a lot of syphilis. In fact, I believe syphilis is what killed Casanova.
Really?
There was a real guy named Casanova. That's not a reference to a book.
Time frame was he?
Like early modern period in Italy.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, but they brought back a lot of syphilis. Fair trade. We gave them smallpox. They gave us syphilis.
Also, yes, somebody just said this, and I'm bringing this up now as a super chat because it's relevant. Sir Half Inch for $10 said, "Does this mean that Clark was accidentally the best wingman for York just by bringing him along?"
Great question from Small Medicine.
But also, true. Also, yes. Also, Clark was consistently just a great wingman because he was trying to get Lewis a gal.
Oh yeah.
Like for a while.
Yeah, not while they were out there. Like
No, afterward.
yeah, based on Lewis and Clark's account of things, they did not partake in any of the fraternization.
According to them.
That, to be fair, neither of them got syphilis,
That's a good point.
and like everyone else did.
That's a good point.
So it does seem like they probably were telling the truth about that.
Yep.
The rest of the group, however, they were having fun. And the crazy thing is, like, you read the accounts and it's like, this was just like, there was no coercion here, it would seem. In some cases, it was like, hey, will you please know my wife? And then in other cases, it was just like, the native women are like, these exotic white men. And the white men are like, these exotic native women. And they just paired up.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it makes sense why westward expansion exploded. Because they hit the Arikara and they're like, okay, everybody wants to sleep with me. Like, if you're a 21-year-old private in the army, you're having a great time.
Yeah, you're like, this is the best assignment I could have ever asked for.
Yeah, and they were also super selective about that too. It was also a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Like, you think Lewis and Clark, and you're like, oh, Lewis, Clark, and Sacagawea, they went off across the country together. There were 31 of them.
Yeah, it was an entire party of people.
Yeah. And oh my God, Jefferson was like, I think like $2,500 can do this. It ran up to like 35 grand just for the trip itself.
Yeah.
And then he had to pay everybody, which was not popular with the Federalists. And then John Quincy Adams was like, look at this loser. He spent $35,000 on land navigation. And then later John Quincy Adams runs for president and his opponents are like, hey, remember when you clowned on Jefferson for the Lewis and Clark expedition that gave us the entire continent? And he still won. He still did become president. Then Andrew Jackson became president. And that was bad for a lot of people.
Man, presidential elections really just always yo-yo up and down.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy.
Also, yeah, the amount of absolute mudslinging that was happening,
God.
even with Washington, like in the beginning, it has always been this bad, guys.
Yeah. The weird part is actually like the post-war period up to Trump.
Yeah. There was in the beginning, candidates had their own newspapers that would slander each other.
Yeah. And they would just lie.
Yeah.
They would just make things up. And there were no repercussions for it whatsoever.
Nothing has ever changed.
Yeah. Jefferson's also such a complicated person.
Yeah. He is both very good and very not so good.
Yeah. But I mean, the whole story, like, you think about it, first of all, they tried to do this back in the 1790s, but they chose a French guy, a French naturalist, and then found out he was a spy. So they canceled that trip. Finally, like 10 years later, once Jefferson has been able to, groom Lewis into being the perfect, not like that kind of grooming. Once he's been able to train Lewis into being the kind of man he needs to be, they finally organize it again. They're like, okay, we actually have Louisiana now. That solves a lot of problems. Go find the Pacific. So Lewis goes and he orders a whole, and Jefferson just writes him a blank check. It's like, just show this to people and they'll give you things. Lewis goes down to Harper's Ferry and is like, I need 15 rifles. I need powder horns. I need tomahawks. I need knives. Collects all these things, spends $2,500 in 1802 money on, or 1803 money, I guess, on all sorts of stuff. And then sets off. He collects his men. They get to Pittsburgh. He's like, I need a boat. One guy in Pittsburgh can make a boat. The guy takes forever to make the boat. He finally makes his way down the Ohio and links up with Clark, which is kind of hard because the Ohio is somehow lower than it's ever been in anyone's living memory. They finally make it down there. They meet up with Clark. They get to St. Louis. And there's a bit of a problem because the Spanish still aren't aware or are being really legalistic about the fact that nobody has come there to formally hand over Louisiana yet. So they have to wait in St. Louis until somebody can come and formally hand over Louisiana because the Spanish won't let them go up the river. They go up the river. They start meeting tribes. They're having a good time. They run into the Yankton Sioux, and they're fine. Then they get to the Teton Sioux, and that doesn't go very well because they're at war with like 3 different tribes, and they think that the Lewis and Clark expedition is working for the Omaha, and then the Omaha try to convince the Lewis and Clark, like the Omaha prisoners they have, try to convince the Lewis and Clark expedition that the Teton Sioux are planning to attack them in the night, and then the Teton Sioux don't exactly make it hard to believe that, because they keep, pulling out weapons and things, and at one point the Lewis and Clark are like trying to get back onto the river in their boat, and the Sioux won't let them. Like, they're just holding on to the ropes on the boat, trying to pull them in. And then Clark's on shore, kind of trying to figure out what's going on. And Lewis is on the boat, and Lewis is like, hey, point the cannon at him. Just the worst possible idea. And like the one thing that Jefferson had been worried about the whole time with sending Lewis is that Lewis was young and impulsive and kind of a hothead who had once challenged a guy to a duel for a perceived insult in the army when dueling was, considered a court-martialable offense. They get past the Teton Sioux, luckily. Get up. They reach the Arikara. I think was it the Mandan and then the Arikara, or the Arikara then the Mandan?
I think it was the Arikara and the Mandan.
Yeah. Then they get to the Mandan. Yeah, because they spent the winter with the Mandan.
Yep.
They're chilling with the Mandan, and then one day a bunch of the Mandan ride back into camp, and they're like, the Sioux stole our horses and all of our bison. And then so Lewis is like, all right, let's go off and try and get that stuff. And they don't, because they can't find them. They give up, and they just bring some bison back, and they eat them. They survive the winter because they keep trading. They have a blacksmith with them, so they keep trading iron goods for grain. Finally, the winter ends, and they get back on the road. And there's so many bison that they're eating 9 pounds of meat a day. They get further out there. They start running into other tribes. They get to I'm trying to remember who, the Hidatsa, and that's, I believe, where they pick up Sacagawea, who was like stolen in a slave raid by the Hidatsa from the Shoshone, and then married to a French guy who she was like his third wife, because I'm pretty sure half the reason the French were going out there is so like, oh my god, we can have so many women without it being a sin. Because, the French, not that they ever really cared about the balance of marriage. So Sacagawea, her main purpose on the trip, once they pick her up, is like, hey, we need somebody to talk to Shoshone. They get out to the Shoshone after passing through, if I remember correctly, one other tribal group that I can't remember off the top of my head. They get out to the Shoshone. They don't actually really have Sacagawea talk to them at first, but then what they do is they have a standoff with a Shoshone chief, and then they reunite the whole party, like the Shoshone group and the Lewis and Clark expedition. And then again, when I say that this story is almost like written for television, the part nobody ever tells you, Sacagawea was the chief's sister. They don't give them horses because Sacagawea convinced them. It's because they just brought back the chief's sister who was stolen in a slave raid several years ago. And he's like, whatever you want is yours. Yeah. They give them horses. They start heading through the mountains. They run into the Nez Perce on the other side of the mountains, and the Nez Perce are pretty chill. They'll get along very well with the Nez Perce. In fact, they stay with them for quite a while on both sides of the expedition. They become friends with these guys. They trade. You're having a very good experience overall. They keep going west. I can't remember what tribe they ran into when they kept going west, but at one point they're like, all right, time to go down the river, the Columbia River. And the natives are like, I wouldn't do that in a boat if I were you. And then the Lewis and Clark expedition is like, listen, a quirked up white boy who's goated with the sauce, and they go down the river, and the natives are standing on the sides waiting to watch their boat capsize, and it doesn't, and they make it down. They find the Pacific. They're like, there's an ocean here.
Was it the Salish that you were thinking of?
It was one of the Salish groups. I can't remember which one. It was one of the ones with a really hard to pronounce name.
Got it.
Not the Squamish. I can't remember. They spend a winter on the Pacific Northwest coast. Horrible idea. Does not go well. Not only are they all bored out of their minds, but they're also hungry and cold and wet. That ends. They hate being there because all of the natives around them are constantly like coming into the camp to be like, what a nice camp you have here. I'll take that. Oh my God, is that a horse? Oh, wow. Oh, you know what? I am actually feeling a little peckish. I'm going to head home. No, I'm not carrying all of your silverware. So they weren't big fans of those guys. No violence happened, but they did make a note that later it should. And then it did. They go back, they find the Nez Perce, and the Nez Perce are like, well, to be honest, you got here a little too early. You still can't get through the Rockies. And they're like, yes, we can. So they go through the Rockies, and then they get stuck. You know the scene in Lord of the Rings where Gandalf and the rest of them are on the side of a mountain and Saruman's yelling stuff at them from far away?
Yep.
It's kind of like that, where they're like, well, we could try and press on. And since there's no Mines of Moria, they just go back, which is a little embarrassing because Lewis is like, I'm going to get made fun of by the Nez Perce chiefs, aren't I? And then eventually they do make it back over. They're guided by several Nez Perce. And these guys get to the other side of the mountains with them. Are like, all right, well, time for us to go home. And Lewis and Clark's party is like, wait, no, we actually really like you guys. We should be friends. And they're like, we must go. And so they're like, well, let's at least let us hunt you some bison to send you over with. And so they do that. And, again, the Nez Perce experience was great, which makes it really tragic that later the U.S. government chased them halfway across the country. They almost made it to Canada, which at the time probably seemed like it would be salvation, but would have been astronomically worse. The Canadians would not have reacted well to a horde of Native Americans from south of the border coming over. That would have been a genocide. Like it fit some definitions of it on our side. It would have been worse. Canada. Listen, when Canada commits war crimes, they go all in. They don't commit a little bit of war crime. They're not trying to justify it. They're like, I'll slaughter an entire tribe of women and children before I see this company die. And then they're over in Europe and they're like, I'll throw cans of soup into the German trenches that have grenades in them. Canada, therapy. You guys need therapy.
Yeah, the cold does something to them up there.
Yes, they're just a bunch of cold Scottish people.
You know, this is starting to make so much more sense.
Yeah, you took a lot of Scottish people and you put them in the cold, and
that'll do it.
They didn't handle it well. They could have handled it a lot better, at least. So anyway, after they get past the Rockies, they're into Blackfeet territory, and they do not want to be there because those guys are hostile. And it's not just that they're hostile towards white people because, well, that was like the first time white people got there, at least Americans. It's that they're hostile towards everyone. Like everybody they've encountered, it's like, yeah, we're at war with the Blackfeet. Like, geez, okay, I guess this is how we're doing it these days. And then Lewis is like, you know what the best way to do this is? We have 30 men. And if you come up against a Native American warband, that's actually, if they're all soldiers, that you got a fighting chance. So he splits them up into 4 groups. And they go different directions to figure out which river is the best way to get home. They end up running into a Blackfeet camp. And they manage to not fight each other. And they're all chilling, they're talking, and Lewis is trying to do his thing, but they don't really have anybody who can speak Blackfeet or Blackfoot. Not sure which one it is. They don't have anybody who can speak the language properly.
Fair. Really quickly, before we wrap up this story, I do want to say, just because we're getting a lot of them, for everybody who is here now, we are going to stop taking super chats at 8. Because if we don't do that, we will never leave.
That is true.
And we do have a long day tomorrow and the following of recording History Unhinged. So we appreciate all the things that have been sent thus far. We very much looking forward to reading all of them. You have 5 more minutes from this point forward to get your super chats in. And since we're at peak viewership of the night so far, I wanted to make sure that was said now. But yeah. Appreciate it. If you have some more thoughts, questions, comments that you want to get in before we wrap up this segment and before 8 o'clock, do that now.
Yeah.
But moving forward after 8, we will not be taking any further. We will not be answering any that come in after 8.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, Blackfeet.
Cool. Yeah. So they run into this camp and they're like, okay, cool. I'm going to try to do the thing here. And Lewis has not been super like so far. He's managed to forge a few peace agreements between warring tribes. He's generally gotten the point across that like the United States is in charge of this territory now, but the goal is not to like push you off your land or kill you or anything like that. It's just instead of trading with the French and English, you trade with us now, which was part of Jefferson's master plan to get the Native Americans addicted to not whiskey, actually. Although they always wanted whiskey. It's kind of crazy. Lewis and Clark are like, yeah, every single time we run into them, we're like, would you like pretty glass beads or knives or axes or any of these things we have? And the natives are like, no, absolutely not whiskey. And they're like, bro, we barely brought enough whiskey for ourselves.
That was a problem at one point.
Oh yeah, the whiskey caused problems, and it was a weird problem because it was like if you told the men that there was going to be no whiskey, they wouldn't go, but you also had to make sure they didn't drink all the whiskey.
Yep.
And so had Lewis and Clark known the affinity that these guys were going to have for whiskey, they probably would have brought more of it. But I think Jefferson also probably might have done that on purpose.
What do you mean?
Well, they already knew that Native Americans and whiskey didn't get along very well. In terms of they had absolutely no alcohol tolerance genetically. So it didn't really go over well often.
Naturally.
Caused some fights. Also, if you gave one chief whiskey and another tobacco, they'd fight each other over it. And it wasn't even like about one of them wanting the other one. It was about them perceiving a value difference.
Because they valued whiskey that high.
Yeah, which was a problem because Lewis kept accidentally causing hierarchy issues by like misunderstanding who the like paramount chief and the lesser chiefs were. He did his best, but he definitely made some errors. But yeah, they were able to forge some trade agreements. They were able to forge some peace agreements as they went out. And as he gets to the Blackfeet, he's feeling pretty confident about this. He's like, all right, we have yet to get into a real shooting match with anybody. So he goes to the Blackfeet and he's talking to him and he's speaking through an interpreter, mainly through sign language. I'm not sure how sign language seemed so universal at the time. But speaking through an interpreter through sign language. And he tells him, he's like, yeah, hey, we're from this great nation to the east. We'd love for you to come meet our great chief. Our goal is to create peace across the West and bring you guys into the fold, make you Americans. We're going to teach you how to farm and how to do all the things we do. And all you've got to do is join us. And in Lewis's mind, he's offering civilization. He's offering an end to the ceaseless wars and to the, following the buffalo herds around. He's offering comfort and all the things that modern life brings. And that is not what the Blackfeet value. In fact, it's not what most of them value because they're like, why would I want that? I like how I have it. Like, why do I got to change this? And of course, Jefferson's like, because if you don't, then people I can't control are going to kill you. I would like to think Jefferson had good intentions and just went about it poorly.
It does seem, just based off the writing,
it seems like he did.
Yeah.
And it seems like Lewis shared those intentions. Clark was mainly there to... you ever seen The Office?
Bits and pieces.
There's a spoiler alert, I guess. It's just 20 years old.
Yeah.
There's a point late in The Office, like season 6, where Jim becomes co-manager with Michael, and Michael is the big picture guy and Jim is the day-to-day guy. Lewis is big picture, Clark is day-to-day. He's the one that's actually recording everything in all the journals as things go on so that Lewis can focus on botany and other naturalist things that he was ordered to do that made it hard for... He's writing 500 word to 2,500 word descriptions of plants that are new to science. So I get why he wasn't spending time writing like, saw a pretty butterfly today. Like, hunted some bison with the boys.
Yeah.
he had bigger things to do. So he's talking to the Blackfeet and he's like, yeah, we've made all this peace and, we're bringing civilization west, and the Blackfeet here, we are taking away the only way you guys accumulate wealth. We are taking away everything that makes you powerful as the nation out here that has all the best weapons and horses. And they don't like that. But they also know they can't just outright attack these guys who are clearly trained soldiers with the state-of-the-art weaponry coming out of the East that is like they're using like 50-year-old British muskets. And Lewis and Clark have Pennsylvania rifles. By the way, it is a Pennsylvania rifle. It is not a Kentucky rifle. Kentucky got it from Pennsylvania. Thank Daniel Boone, a Pennsylvanian, who is not yours, Kentucky. And I wish Steven was actually here in the studio so I could clown him over that.
We can do that tomorrow.
We can do that tomorrow when we do the History Unhinged version of this.
Exactly.
So the Blackfeet, they take all of this as a threat, even though Lewis intended it as entirely the opposite. It was supposed to be like, hey, things are about to get really good here. If you like, we'll bring you trade goods and medicine and all sorts of good things if you just don't fight your neighbors. And the Blackfeet are like, you fail to understand. Fighting my neighbors is my favorite hobby. So the next morning, somebody misplaces their rifle, and by misplaces, I mean leaves it next to them while they're sleeping and nobody's on watch. And a couple of Blackfeet guys start trying to steal rifles. So the two guys who, God, what was the last name? Fields?
Yeah,
That sounds right. Right? Fields, I think.
That
the
sounds
Fields brothers?
right, yeah.
I think it was them. They chased the guy who took their rifles down, and this guy has taken 2 unloaded rifles and is carrying one in each hand, which is not an efficient way of fighting back against anything. They tackle him and then kill him by stabbing him, take their rifles back. By the time they get back, Lewis and the French guy they're with have finally figured out Gouillard, something like that.
Sounds right.
Yeah, they've finally gotten their weapons back, and then Lewis ends up chasing down another couple of them who, I'm not sure entirely why he did that, actually shoots one. We don't know if he killed him, but there's a good chance. And then they finally regroup and they're like, oh, no, they were stealing their horses. That's what it was.
Yep.
But then Lewis is like, once he has a chance to look around, and Ambrose, I will say this was funny about Ambrose's book. He's like, if Lewis had just stopped to look around and noticed that the horses that the natives stole were actually, inferior to the horses they had brought with them, and he could have just taken theirs, they wouldn't have had this fight. And it's like, okay, Steven, I'm pretty sure he was focused on other things at the moment.
Yeah.
Like,
also, the way Stephen Ambrose writes.
Also, I do have to say, Stephen Ambrose did a phenomenal job. It's a great book.
It is, and he did a phenomenal job. But the diction choice that he had throughout the book, I swear, every
What are you
chapter,
thinking of?
The words flora and fauna as a statement, I swear he used every other page. There was
Fair enough.
I understand that was a big part of what Lewis was doing, but it's like he didn't mix up the diction at all. He really,
I see what you mean.
He really loved that statement.
Too consistent.
Yeah, and it was so funny because like I'd unintentionally zone out looking at like what was around us, and then I'd immediately be ripped back 30 seconds later by this statement, flora and fauna. It was like
Meanwhile, we're driving through like the highlands of Nebraska where there's neither.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, but it'd be like I'm a sleeper agent getting like zipped back into like service with flora and fauna.
Yep. Oh my God. But yeah, so they get into a fight, and then they do manage eventually to just get out of there. They make their way back down towards the river. They link up with some of the other guys. Lewis gets shot in the ass. He's laying down face down in the boat because that's the only way he can be. They finally run back into Clark, and Clark has a heart attack because he's like, oh my God, they killed Lewis. And then Lewis is just like, nah, my ass hurts. And Clark's like, oh, thank God. And then they go back to like down the Missouri, and it's kind of uneventful on the way back. Although they do run into all the tribes they had just brokered peace agreements with and find out that all of them are at war again. And Lewis is like, okay, this is going to be hard to explain.
Let's be fair, not too dissimilar to how Europe functioned at the time.
No, not at all. But he's like, come on, guys, I've been gone like 6 months. Gets back, goes to Washington, explains kind of what happened. Jefferson's like, you now have all the responsibilities. Go to St. Louis. And on his way there, Lewis is like, I would like to find love. And the world just says no.
Yep. He was basically Ted Mosby of the time.
He was really struggling. There are different opinions on why he was struggling, but I'll get into that in the detailed long form video on this. Gets to St. Louis and immediately is confronted with the most perfect villain in the entire story, a guy named Frederick Bates, who is like the secretary of Louisiana and wants to be the governor. And to Lewis and publicly, he's like this really affable guy who's like, we may disagree, but we're in this together. And then privately, he's like, I am a conniving weasel. Mm-hmm. And also, it's one of the clearest cases of narcissistic personality disorder I've ever seen in history.
Extremely. Reminds me a lot of Robert Downey Jr.'s character from Oppenheimer.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just like, yeah, Lewis, everybody hates this guy. He doesn't even know it yet. Like nobody's actually saying it, but everybody hates him, and they all like me. Meanwhile, there is no evidence that anybody liked him, and also not really a ton of evidence that Lewis was doing a poor job as governor.
Yeah, more like to the opposite.
Yeah, he was trying his best. It was just a really difficult territory to manage, considering it was all the way out the Missouri.
Yeah.
So he's doing his best. He's struggling. Jefferson wants him to finish his book, and the Secretary of War wants him to somehow, placate the natives without fighting any of the natives, but the natives won't make peace. So in order to be friends with one side of the group of the natives, you have to be enemies with another group of the natives. And Lewis is like, can I just call out the militia and sort of, garrison the river so that they can't fight each other?
Do we remember what some of the motivations for the fights were? Because they weren't really territorially claiming things, right? So what was it?
Like hunting grounds and then just raiding and,
Yeah. So more retributional wars and stuff like that.
Retribution, raids, hunting rights, trade rights, there were all sorts of different things going on that caused them to fight. It was typical of tribal societies.
Yeah.
Whether it's European, American, African, whatever, tribal societies tend to have conflict because there's not a ton of diplomacy and not a lot of settlement going on.
Yeah.
Once everything's a little bit more agriculturalized, you start to see people realizing that, it's a little bit better to try diplomacy now and then, and that there are other ways to get food than raiding each other.
Yep.
Again, that's not like just the Native Americans that had to learn that lesson.
Yeah.
It
was literally all of
everyone throughout history has learned that lesson at some point. And usually usually at the hands of a power that already figured it out.
Yeah, really the only reason, I guess, throughout history that ever primarily took hold was in places where they wanted more consistency in food, right?
Yeah.
Like the only reason that it didn't happen.
It's usually where it was easier to grow food than to hunt it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing though, is like where there was never a scarcity of huntable food, they never needed to develop that.
Yeah. And that was kind of what was going on is, they see these Americans coming over like, what do you mean I need to plant large fields of crops? I grow a little bit of corn, I grow some herbs, and I hunt my bison. Like I walk out onto the fields and there's enough food for my entire family, and it reproduces.
Yeah. It's there every day.
Yeah. It's, places where like, the Middle East, where they had all this fertile land. They're like, okay, well, farming seems nice.
Yeah.
Also, anytime they figure out alcohol, they're like, okay, we need to do more of this.
Yeah.
Alcohol spurred a lot of agricultural development.
Except for in Ireland.
It kind of stymied it there.
For 400 years, right?
The Wikipedia page for Irish innovations does have a bit of a 400-year gap, but that's more because of the English committing a genocide.
Yeah, that also doesn't help.
Yeah. So yeah, everything Lewis is trying to do is getting screwed up. This guy Bates is constantly working against him. All the while, the guy who's in charge of the military in the region, a man by the name of Wilkinson, whose first name I can't remember, feel like it started with a B. Anyway, he's like a spy for the Spanish. Just straight up working for the Spanish, has been the whole time. And now he wants to invade New Mexico. Like Aaron Burr was put on trial for something Wilkinson was probably the mastermind of.
Which is wild.
Yeah. So Wilkinson's working behind the scenes the whole time. And the thing is, Lewis is kind of working directly in contradiction to what Wilkinson wants, which is to conquer the West and make a new country for himself.
Yeah,
or possibly for Spain.
Peace.
Yeah, and Lewis's goal is bring everyone into the fold and expand the American empire westwards, which is what Jefferson wanted. And Jefferson was kind of like his surrogate dad, because, his dad died.
Yep.
And Bates may or may not have been working with Wilkinson. Maybe Bates was just an ambitious guy. But eventually it gets to a point where behind the scenes, people are trying to undermine Lewis, and he has to go to Washington so that he can explain what's going on, because the army has just refused to pay for any of the things he promised the army would pay for while governing Louisiana. And he's like, okay, I've been keeping meticulous notes on what all of this was for. This is all legitimate. And now if you do not pay up, it will ruin me personally. Like, I will be destitute. I will be, my life will be destroyed. And he even says that even that could not diminish his patriotism. And he says, like, you know, let his patriotism in the face of this, like, be evidence that even when his country abandoned him, he loved it anyway. When I say, like, one of the greatest Americans to ever live, he was a guy who would rather go broke and have his entire life destroyed than see the country fail, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Because the people around him were always just all out for themselves by that point. And he's on his way. He goes down the Mississippi, and he's like, the British have been impressing sailors into their navy. This is before 1812.
I was going to say, they really love to do that.
Yeah. This is before we put a very violent stop to that. British are impressing sailors into the navy. At least that's the reason that historians think he changed his course. But he got sick. He stops off at a fort to recuperate. And then at that point, while he's at the fort, he changes his route and he decides to go overland through Tennessee, up the Natchez Trace, and back into Virginia, and then on to Washington. He leaves the fort, and he ends up at the fort linking up with this guy named Neely, who is I think, Department of the Interior or Indian Affairs agent. He links up with Neely at the fort, and then he heads east. And then at one point, one of the horses runs off, and this is the story we get from Neely, because Lewis didn't write about it. One of the horses runs off. Neely's like, oh, I'll stay back and I'll get it. And so Lewis tells him, all right, well, I'll meet you at the home of the first white person we come across, because the area was very much still filled with the Cherokee. And things were a little tense. So he's like, I'll meet you at the home of the first white person. And they get to a place called Grinders Inn. And once he gets there, he checks in. I'll go into this more in detail in the big story version, but something happens that night. And in the morning, Lewis is found by two of the servants with a bullet wound across, I think, his forehead and a bullet wound down through his chest. He dies after several hours of bleeding. According to Neely, Mrs. Grinder had told him that Lewis seemed off and that night she had heard something, and she heard a gunshot go off and then a shout and then another gunshot, and then Lewis was kind of like stumbling around, and at one point he asked for water, but she was too scared to give it to him. There's another story that gets told later when somebody on Lewis's side of things actually goes and interviews her, and then the story changes a little bit. It's different from what Neely said she told him. And then you have Captain Russell from that fort, that fort is under Wilkinson's control. Russell is like, oh yeah, man, he got here and he was drinking constantly, like he was total alcoholic, but once he got over being sick, he finally realized that being an alcoholic wasn't a great idea, and he was never going to touch a drop of this stuff again. And then at first Russell kind of blames Neely and says that Neely was pressuring him to drink, and then Russell has a different version of the story entirely where other things happen. And so the general consensus after a few months is sort of that Lewis took his own life. And that he had said as much, that, he was tired of living or something. Ambrose has this honestly bizarre notion that Lewis was trying to cure like his malaria by shooting where he thought the malaria would be. Meanwhile, Lewis is like a trained medical professional who was the group's doctor.
Well, didn't Ambrose also just kind of have a general consensus of an idea that Lewis was like off the chain for
total alcoholic?
Yeah,
using snuff, which is tobacco.
Yeah, but even beyond that, like his faculties were slipping.
That he was depressed, that his faculties were slipping. And then Patricia Tyler Stroud, I believe, is the author of the other book we listened to. And she basically went through how there's no evidence of any of that.
Yeah.
And I agree, because she's like, if he was an alcoholic, why did Clark never mention it? Why didn't Bates use it against him?
Yeah.
Nobody who knew Lewis personally in St. Louis thought he was an alcoholic.
And she gives a great refutation of why Jefferson would have even offhandedly and indirectly mentioned it.
Yeah, what was it again?
It was that Jefferson's stake in the political sphere at that time was putting, I believe it was putting Lewis's goals against his. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was at the point where I can't remember exactly what it. Essentially, it was like politically moving forward. It served him better to distance himself.
If Lewis had taken his own life. Yeah, that's true. And he also may have realized at that point that Wilkinson was not who he thought he was.
Yeah.
So there was some embarrassment going on as well.
And I believe it had something slightly to do with Bates as well.
Yeah, I can't. Well, Bates was definitely writing all sorts of letters trying to undermine Lewis and accusing him of things, but not a single one of those letters accused Lewis of being an alcoholic.
Yeah, which that's the biggest key. And there's really no, especially when he's doing all of those other accusations, there's no real taboo to utilize that as an attack at that point in time.
All of his accusations are basically like, this guy just sucks at his job.
Yeah.
And nobody likes him.
And that would be a prime way he would suck at his job if he was drunk all the time and depressed and not capable of performing.
But nobody says Lewis is a drunkard. Clark, the one letter we have from Clark about the incident is a printed copy, and we're not sure if there even is an original.
Yeah.
And in it, Clark doesn't even necessarily say, like, yeah, it makes sense that he would have been, like, that he would have killed himself. It says it, like, makes sense that he would be dead based on what he'd heard. Like the story he'd heard sounded believable enough about him being dead. It's not about how he died. It's, I would be willing to believe he's dead. So yeah, there's no evidence that Lewis was an alcoholic. And also in his last few weeks, he was doing way too much work to be the ranting, raving, drunk, mad person Russell described him as.
Yeah.
He was sending all sorts of well-written letters. He was collecting his affairs. He was like, again, he was on the hook for a lot of money if the government didn't pay up for what they promised to pay for. And so he put all of his affairs in order before he left, just in case something happened to him. And to make sure that while he was gone, his creditors would be satisfied and wouldn't come after his family. So that's a lot to be doing if you're in a state where you're like appearing insane to people. And again, nobody other than these couple of people said these things. So,
and it was anecdotal at that point.
And it was all anecdotal. Yeah. There was nobody was there to witness what happened that night aside from Mrs. Grinder, and her story changed.
Oh yeah. I heard it was very similar to the Kamar Deban incident in the retellings over several decades.
Where there were just a couple of differences.
Yeah.
And there were people out west who stood to gain from Lewis's death who could have organized it. So, I mean, like I said, there's a lot more to go into it, and I'm looking forward to doing it. I'm actually very excited to make this video. But it's, I don't think it was suicide.
Yeah, I think it's highly unlikely.
It just doesn't make sense to me. And this was a guy who, like, he hadn't given up. And that's the other thing too, is if he had, one of the excuses like, oh, he was just so distraught over his inability to find love that he sank into depression and alcoholism and nothing mattered anymore. And that's how it all ended. In some cases, sure, I could see that. He had such a marked dedication to public service that his life had meaning. Even without love, even without having a wife and children, his life meant something to more than just himself. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like he was working a job where anybody could come in and do it. He wasn't, a farm laborer who was getting up into those years and, if he died, then somebody would just replace him the next day. Like, he felt a genuine purpose and calling.
Yeah, he felt the duty, and especially even still to the duty to not disappoint Jefferson at that point.
Yeah,
still.
That was the other thing, is like his whole thing this entire time is, I really don't want to disappoint Dad.
Yeah. Which can be a very intense driving motivator.
It can be. And he seemed very confident that when he got to Washington, he'd be able to explain everything.
Yeah.
And the government would pay everything, and he would go back to St. Louis and get back to running the show. And and instead he turns up dead because of a few things that nobody else ever recorded except the last people to see him alive. Come on.
Doesn't make a lot of
Like,
sense.
I remember saying to you while we were in the car, I was like, if this happened this year, absolutely nobody would believe that he killed himself.
No, not a shot.
Not one. Everybody would say this was a murder.
They would call it he got Clinton because he got
Yeah.
literally shot twice.
Twice the back.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Like, some of the accounts say he was only carrying one pistol.
Yeah.
So are we supposed to believe that he shot himself in the head,
Yes.
reloaded a pistol, and like keep in mind this is like an old, like, you have a ramrod kind of pistol, and then shot himself again?
Yes. Both of them not fatal wounds.
Yeah.
At least in the term of.
And that's the thing is, like, so Ambrose's whole thing is like, oh, well, he was probably just trying to cure his malaria. Okay, well, you just made the argument that he was drunk and depressed. You spent 3 chapters doing that. Now it was an accident?
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense.
I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. So anyway, we should go to Super Chats.
We should indeed, because we have quite a number of them. And yet again, thank you for sending them over. The first one from the top of the show was from registered guest for $2 saying, Star Wars Unhinged channel when, please?
Oh my God.
We were laughing about that
Yeah.
before we went live. I guess right as we went live, because that would be entertaining.
Star Wars Unhinged episode.
That would be fun.
There are just so many Star Wars shows out there already.
There are so many.
Yeah.
We appreciate that you would like to hear our take on certain things.
I have plenty of takes on Star Wars.
My main take.
I was once banned from, suspended from Facebook for 14 days for threatening the life of Ryan Johnson. I don't see it as having threatened the life of Ryan Johnson. I just created a hypothetical scenario where if I was on a desert island with myself, Ryan Johnston, I think like Bin Laden and Stalin,
Yeah.
I would shoot Ryan Johnson twice and then, what was it? Yeah, it was if I was on an island with Ryan Johnson and Adolf Hitler. That's what it was. And I had a gun with 2 bullets. I'd shoot Hitler twice and then beat the other one to death with a rock.
Yep.
And that got me suspended from Facebook. I stand by it.
Yeah, my hottest, not only my hottest, my main take on Star Wars is just that Obi-Wan Kenobi is the most important person in that galaxy.
This is not the route you're looking for. Listen, if you haven't seen the most recent video, you missed an Obi-Wan Kenobi impression.
You did. Actually, let me revise that. Not the most important. He is the greatest Jedi that ever lived.
Yeah.
Period. Like, there is no question.
Especially out of the ones we see on screen.
Yeah, 100%. I love all of the memes about him during the mall fight, and it's just like he was moving like this as a Padawan. And it's like, yeah, he's the first dude to kill a Sith in 1,000 years. Undefeated champ.
Did it with vibes alone.
Yeah. And like, I love that, like, in the extended stuff, he is notoriously recognized as not a great Force user. He just, like, pure love of the game. Maul, not really Dooku, obviously, but like in the tier list of the people he beats versus who those people beat, he is top dog every time. And the fact that he slams, I do not mind.
The one guy who does beat him consistently is Dooku.
Yeah, and that's the only one, but it's also the guy who trained his master.
Yeah.
So it makes a lot of sense there. But that's the thing is, like, but then he beats Anakin, who beats Dooku. So it's just, again, that hierarchy, it can't be tamed. But I do love the in Kenobi where he just slaps him down. Like it's there are problems with that show, but on the whole, I enjoyed it.
It should have been a movie.
It should have been a movie. Did you watch the cut that one guy did? I can't remember
I've
his
been
name.
meaning to.
It's well done. It's a solid, like, 2.5 hour movie.
Is it on YouTube?
It was. Now you need like a Google Drive. I downloaded it from the Google Drive link, so I have it like on my computer.
Share it with me.
So yeah, I will 100%. But anyway, Flaw for $5 says it doesn't stream the podcast for 3 weeks. Couldn't be me. Also, I can't believe the Aiden off the market couldn't be me.
I'm off the market.
You are indeed
I am indeed engaged.
engaged
Engaged to be wed.
to be happy for the rest of your life.
Yes, indeed.
That's the goal. Gomb, who's been a member for 25 months, says, a good friend was in a car crash recently. He's in a coma right now, but likely won't see tomorrow. Please keep him in your prayers. Absolutely will, dude. So sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I'm very sorry to hear that, and was expecting that to turn around at some point. That's just bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's horrible. Yeah, very much hoping for the best in that scenario, but obviously that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Kellen has been a member for 16 months. Rums Trains has been a member for 15 months, and Mr. Dilo has been a member for 12 months. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Dilo says, yo, not going to stay, but can't wait to watch this later while I play Minecraft or Ark. May your hearts function correctly and your bones not melt. Thank you very much. That's on brand for us.
Yeah. It's a new one.
It is. It is. We like the...
I do feel the Minecraft, the Minecraft phase is coming back.
Oh, yeah.
Soon.
It's been
going
a
to hit
year.
us this winter.
Yeah. No, what hits me in the winter every time is World of Tanks.
That's fair.
Yeah, because they do a specific like Christmas themed stuff where they do like a bunch of bonuses and gifts and stuff.
Okay.
So at this point, like we really only play that game around Christmas time, but when we do, it's just like clear your schedule. December is World of Tanks month.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm going to be putting so many hours into Battlefield.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Every waking hour of my life. We better get this wedding plan before Battlefield 6 drops.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to have so much stuff to do this fall. Dude, what is it about your mid-20s where suddenly everything just starts happening? Like, there are so many weddings, bachelor parties, trips, travel. Like, everybody just is doing stuff all the time.
4 weddings to go to in the next year.
Yeah, it's insane.
And there might be more coming.
At least we get a break between, like, mid-30s and, like, mid-50s to 60s when everybody's kids start getting married.
True.
Jacket, member 16 months, says, hope the Yellowstone trip was fun. Glad to have you all back. Join the ranch. Praise the milk.
Oh my God, the Yellowstone trip was amazing.
Yeah, it was a great time.
We had such a good time. I climbed a mountain twice.
Yeah, the groups were both fantastic. Our
proud of
guide,
myself.
Nick, was amazing.
Nick was awesome. Yeah, Nick, shout out. You probably aren't watching this, but really cool dude.
If you are, I have been listening to Goose. They're great. Cryptic Vulpix, member 15 months.
We also, just really quickly, we are definitely going to try and buy something out in Montana.
Yeah.
Just to be able to go vacation there ourselves. But we will also probably offer it as an Airbnb. Mm-hmm. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah. Don't know when that's going to happen. Might be a few years, but like
And one day the ranch.
Yeah, one day the ranch. Baby steps. Baby steps. We still have debt to pay off before we start incurring new debt. So
I paid for a brand name college education.
you managed to get the one job that allows you to actually pay that education off. So
I'd be screwed. I'd be in the Air Force.
yeah, that's valid.
Dude, if World War III pops off, I'm joining the Air Force and I'm doing the propaganda stuff.
Yeah.
I am working as a propaganda officer. Sorry, public affairs officer.
There it is. Yeah. But yeah, runs trains for 545 says, my daddies are back. I'm finally complete again. We missed you and we gooned to you.
Don't like that.
It was a mess in the bedroom without y'all. Honestly, I'm honored.
Why would you finish reading that?
What, dude? I was speaking as each word met my eye.
Have we learned nothing?
Dude, we talk too much. I don't have time to pre-screen these.
That's fair. That's what the intern's for when she gets back from Ireland.
Exactly. Hope she's having a great time. Griff for $10 says, I got very confused when I read the story of Big Medicine in the title. Big Medicine was the name Theodore Roosevelt gave his Winchester 1895 chambered in .405 Winchester that he used on safari. It had to be a reference, right? It had to be a reference.
It must have been.
Was any of the story published at that point?
Yeah. I think the first edition of their journals had been.
Okay. That's hilarious. He had to have known.
He must have.
Yeah. That has to be intentional.
I was going to say, if it was any later, I'd be like, it was probably in the Book of Secrets.
Hamster Eater 96 for $5 says, will you gentlemen be raising any dairy cattle on this ranch? No ranch is
hell
complete
yeah.
without le milk. Well, I know you definitely want Highland cows.
Yeah, those are for petting, though.
Yeah.
I want to breed them very small.
Like just real.
Like Archie-sized Highland cow.
Just as long as they're healthy enough to like exist.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I'm actually not worried about that with you. You are like a very quiet but like passionate like animal rights activist.
I don't know how I feel about that description, but I'll take it.
Well, because like you don't talk about it a lot, but when it comes up, you are very like
Yeah.
animals need to be treated properly.
At least with respect.
Yeah. Which, yeah, respectable. Tyler Dalrymple for 556, nice, says, if I have to wait this long for Lore Lads and History Unhinged again, I'm name dropping both of you in my unaliving note. JKJK, welcome back.
I was told I look like the guy from 13 Reasons Why a lot when I was younger. I don't see it as much anymore because I've, aged.
Yeah.
But when I was like 19, I looked a lot like Dylan Minnette, who was like our age.
It is insane to me that that show's been around that long.
Dude, I had ex-girlfriends from high school texting me freshman year of college to be like, you look like the guy from 13 Reasons Why. And I was like, I have absolutely no idea what to do with this information.
Yeah, that's pretty wicked.
I was like, is that good?
Is he cute?
Should I hit you up when I'm home?
Oh, that's great. Aaron for $2 says,
Hey, Aaron?
I don't know if you're going to want me to say this.
My glasses on.
It's
Just
non-straight Obama be like, now let me be queer. And I mainly had to say it because I knew you would enjoy that.
how do I do a gay Obama impression?
There's no way to do this and we don't get in trouble.
I can do, oh no, let me be queer. But
Yeah.
now I can't. Yeah, there's no way to do both at once. Yeah. Gay what would gay Obama sound like? He might just sound like Obama.
Yeah. Being gay does not require the voice.
It's true. Yeah, I cannot imagine what he would. Yeah.
I think it would just be the same.
All right.
All right. Here we are. Local Legends Bert Moran, been a member for 14 months.
Hey,
How
Bert.
we doing, Bert? Gone for $5 is back, says some humor because I need it right now.
Oh. I knew it was coming. What is it?
You know, we have to, given his situation.
Given his situation, we have to.
Did y'all breed that sweet, sweet, sticky big pussy?
You know what? I take it back. We don't have to.
Also, so sorry Ted Cruz ate your son. Have a good night, Lore Lads.
I hope your friend survives, but I also kind of hope you don't. Like, you want to trade souls with him, maybe?
We will never... Are there no chips left?
I might. There's an entire other box of them.
Okay. I was also snacking on them before the show, so
Yeah.
that's fair.
I may try to leave a little bit of guac, and there's more chips downstairs.
I'm going to order food when I get home.
I'm also probably going to need...
No way I'm cooking dinner for myself tonight, because Kat's not here. She's in Ohio.
Do you want me to cook you dinner?
No, I don't. I don't know what food we even have at home right now, because I haven't been here. But anyway, moving on. NC Squatch for 556, nice, says, hey guys, first time catching y'all live in a minute. Just wanted to say keep up the
I
good
haven't
work.
seen that name in a while.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Where you been? How you doing? Rums Trains for $2 says, how many mini Sasquatches have you found so far?
Well, there's two on the desk right
Yeah.
now. There's one above the mirror in the upstairs bathroom.
Yeah, there's a couple in the Friday video room.
in the studio. We found at least half a dozen.
Yeah, a couple in the bathrooms. Yeah, they're around.
They are around.
Duo Black Rose for $5 says, money for the ghost segment of your last vid, making me laugh my ass off. Hope to see you guys next year's Rough and Tumble. Yeah, what is that? Where is that?
Rough and Tumble. That sounds familiar.
I feel like that was recommended to us at some point. You definitely brought this up before, but I've forgotten.
Look it up.
I have since forgotten what this is. Also, didn't we say we were going to do something in particular for Blobfest next year? Also, guys, if you can, next year for Blobfest, if you could gift us ice water,
Yeah.
that would be great, because I quite literally had heat stroke. I'm a little embarrassed by that, because we were just sitting under a canopy with a fan on us all day. And somehow I got, well, it was actually heat exhaustion. I didn't get full stroke, but
Yeah. Is Rough and Tumble the Rough and Tumble Engineers Historical Association? It's a train thing, it appears.
Oh, I'm all in at that point then.
Yeah, museum.
Oh, yeah. Would you like to enlighten them of what I showed you in Cheyenne?
It was a really big locomotive. Like a really big locomotive, like the size of a small plane.
It basically has the size of a fuselage of a 737.
It was a large train.
It was entertaining because it was not planned. Like, I knew Cheyenne was the epicenter for Union Pacific, but I didn't expect we'd actually go anywhere because there's a museum there, but I figured there's no way we're actually going. I did not know that one was in the park until we were just outside of town. But we were in Lincoln, Nebraska, and we were looking for a place to eat. And they had a railroad station that was converted into like a bunch of different things.
Oh yeah, and there was a locomotive there, and I was like, "Damn, that's a big locomotive." And he was like, "No, it's not."
Yeah, I was like, "That's a small one." And Mattis was like, "What?" And when I saw in Cheyenne that there was a big boy on display right in a park 5 minutes away, I was like, "I have to show him." And it took about 5 minutes of convincing, but then we went, and he was like, "Oh, I'm starting to understand." He was literally like, "I'm starting to see the vision."
It was really big, like it was taller than this room. It was probably nearly as tall as this building.
For context, it is over 16 feet tall and over 100 feet long.
It's a big train.
Just the locomotive weighs over 1 million pounds.
Yeah, that's crazy. We also saw like a 2-mile long coal train.
Yeah.
Going through Montana.
Yeah, several very long trains. Mm-hmm. Which was entertaining to be around all the Union Pacific stuff when we live in a Norfolk Southern area during the point where they announced the merger, which was funny. But yeah, great trip for train buffs.
Big train.
Big train.
Big train is keeping the automobile down.
It is. Actually, the reverse. We got to do that history segment at some point.
Okay.
Because that'd be great. Yeah, for those of you, 30-second snapshot. If you ever wonder why rail is so bad in the United States, it's because they monopolized transportation of both goods and passengers so badly that the U.S. government stepped in and said, "Y'all suck, so we're going to make roads." And more roads. They literally built the U.S. highway system because the railroads were so greedy. That's why trucking is so big in the U.S. Anyway, Gomb is back with $5 saying, "Also, I'm still driving back from Blobfest. The highway I've been on for the past week hasn't had any road signs or exit ramps since I got on." Incredible. It's like the running joke of Amelia Earhart. She didn't go missing. She's just still flying. Yeah, Gom never made it home. He's still on the way back from Blobfest.
He's still flying.
Yeah, still flying. Sir Half Inch, or as we may start calling you, Sir Little Medicine. Yeah. For $5 says, "My guess is 65%. Also, welcome back. Glad to see you guys live again." We're glad to be live again.
Your guess was way off.
Yeah. Borderline the opposite of what it was.
It was very close to being the opposite.
Yeah. Dr. Glorfindel for $10 says, "Yo, welcome back. Ever looked into the suitcase Jane Doe case in Downingtown, PA? Thinking about writing a film script about it, and I want to do some research. Also, my guess is 10% over land." We've heard of this story before. We haven't. It's come up on the show before. We haven't covered it yet, though. We also have that Norristown one we still need to do because we need to do the interview with the guy's mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
And somebody, it was Pumpkin Bear, was Iris. She tagged me in a thing on Instagram today. Apparently, there's a conspiracy theory that Garth Brooks is a serial killer.
What?
Based upon people going missing when he's in town for tours.
Okay, I would believe someone on his team might be not him.
The thing is, it's been like 30 years. I did not look at it in depth. I might spend a couple of hours seeing like, all right, is this a thing where like people go missing in towns that Garth Brooks has stopped in, but not while he's there, and just like they're all towns he's stopped in?
I will say,
like, because if it's like a missing 411 thing where it's like there's no real connection.
I will say though, despite what it ends up being, the thumbnail and title of "Is Garth Brooks a serial killer?"
Views.
Yes,
automatic views.
Yes, so we might have to do that.
And he's got friends in low places.
He does. So do we. Lauren Hammer for $10 says, "My favorite spooky boys are back. Woo! Have you ever heard about that woman all over Facebook claiming her dad is a serial killer and the cops aren't taking it seriously? I think her name is Galena Treffel.
That sounds like a fake name.
It does,
That is the fakest sounding name.
but it might be worth looking into.
Galena Treffel?
Yeah, Galina and then Trefil.
Yeah, Galena Treffel is a California woman who gained attention in March 2025 after publicly alleging that her elderly father is a serial killer. Definitely worth looking at.
Absolutely. AZ Cosplays for $10 says, hope your trip was good. I recently moved 4 hours from home and across state lines. Your videos have been a huge source of comfort. Love all your work. Thank you very much. Glad it's helping the transition.
Yeah.
Michael Elmore for $5 says, y'all should check Manifest Destiny. It's an Image comic that focuses on Lewis and Clark, but they come across fantastical creatures and attempt survival.
See, now that is the movie we write.
Yeah.
Is Lewis and Clark fight Bigfoot.
Yes. Yeah. And then they could meet Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Should we do Teddy Roosevelt Vampire Killer?
Teddy Roosevelt, Bigfoot Hunter, though.
Well, we can't do both of them hunting Bigfoot.
We can.
That's a good point.
Lewis and Clark is just the prequel.
Yeah.
Same, they go through the Bitterroots. That's where
Bauman.
Bauman's story is.
All right, there we go. Meh for $2 says, can't wait to find out new info about this story. You just found it out. Mm-hmm. Rums Trains is back for $2 saying, I'm making hamburger helper in a semi. Who hungry?
You know what? Not gonna lie, I would scarf some hamburger helper down right now. I've never had it.
Really?
Never had hamburger.
That was like a weekly
You met my parents.
That's a good point. You've met mine. It was a weekly staple.
No, I've never had hamburger helper.
What was the hamburger helper like with pasta that we did?
Yeah, still.
Yeah. I've always wondered like what is the vibe in like living in the truck for an extended period of time?
I've seen some trucks that are pretty tricked out inside.
Yeah, I've never been in one, but like the ones that have like the gargantuan cabs, like it's got
a studio apartment back there.
Yeah, like what kind of TV can you fit in those things?
At least a 32-inch.
Yeah, but like, and it's just like the bed, so you just got like prime seating. Like it's other than like,
Dude, with Starlink now, it's got to be pretty sick to be a trucker.
It's a great point. Fallback career. Although I heard,
I mean, it's definitely
really tough.
it would. I see. Here's the thing: my old plan for fallback career was to be a right-wing grifter. I don't think I can get that silly.
Yeah, dude.
I'm seeing Candace Owens, and she's like, "Dinosaurs aren't real. The Earth is flat." And Brigitte Macron is a man.
No, it is insane. It is insane that they spent like 10 years trying to get the cultural moment, and then as soon as they had it, they were like, yeah, so you know all that stuff that we said was like crazy and we don't actually believe? We actually believe it. I don't know what Matt Walsh is doing.
I don't know that Matt Walsh knows what Matt Walsh is doing.
I think he thinks he knows exactly what he's doing, but I think in reality, like the 3 brain cells in his head are like a Newton swing.
I think he has mixed up the fact that you don't have to go to college to be intelligent and successful with him not going to college, making him intelligent and successful.
Yeah. He took the...
He is successful.
Yeah. He took the all the great people drop out of college idea, and he was like, I didn't even go, so I must be even better.
Yeah. Just bad takes from that guy all around.
He really sealed his fate when he started clowning on Star Wars.
Yeah, that was... I didn't like him before that, and then I was like, oh, okay, now you're an enemy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's on site.
You're on my list. Yeah, like how am I gonna grift harder?
Yeah.
Like Nick Fuentes is now becoming a person who's actually part of the discourse, and I'm like, that guy?
I love that
He was. Didn't we all like prove that he was into cat girls or cat boys actually like 5 years ago?
I love that I don't know what he looks like. That makes me so happy. Yeah. But like I've never seen his face and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, Nick Fuentes is like, America needs to become Catholic. And then the Catholic Church is like, we don't like him. Like literally. The Catholic Church named him in a release, a memo
Yeah.
about how they don't like him.
Yeah. No, for me, it's on site because when you took Jordan Peterson and turned him into a grifter, that ruined everything about you for me. You had no redeeming qualities at that point. You took a man at his lowest and said, "Be political." Horrid. Not that he was a saint to begin with, but at least he was just talking about like lobsters.
The lobsters. My favorite though are the edits of his lectures where they just make him talk about rats and like
great.
lobsters and snakes and it's
Yeah. That's the thing. When you look at his like actual lectures pre 2017, like they're good classes. Like it's a good professor talking about interesting theological and psychological phenomena.
yeah.
And then everybody just kept pressing him to talk about like
Woke.
yeah. Well, now he's like full on like I think the climate change people are just trying to like kill humanity. And I'm like, what?
I haven't been paying attention.
Oh yeah, he's like, no, I'm very suspicious of the climate change activists. I think they're trying to like accelerate human demise. And it's like, dude, who are you talking to? Like,
I'm very suspicious of the climate change activists.
like get off Twitter.
They're trying to take my cheese. Don't tell them about the cheese caves.
Yeah. It's like he's like, why would you not want to industrialize areas and everybody who like supports like
We need to pave
renewables.
paradise and put up a parking lot.
Literally. And everybody's like, what are you talking about? We like nuclear? Like we want people to lit. Like what? This is the problem.
Clean coal. Remember when that was a thing?
It still is, dude.
What?
Yes. There are still people that they're trying to reopen the coal mines. Stop.
The children, they earn. Kids, back down the mines.
Oh, we can't.
It'll solve a lot of problems, man. Kids, immigrants, the disabled.
I know. Oh, my
If you have not seen a very particular Australian comedy sketch, then that probably sounded terrible, but I promise I got it from the Aussies.
Yeah.
Disabled people down in the mines.
Who is it that does
I
that?
don't know. It's just two random Australian dudes.
So good.
They're
Aussies are
comedians.
so funny.
Ah.
Anyway, Tyler Dalrymple for 762, nice, says, before their expedition, did we know how far the continent went, or were they just dumbstruck about how long it took them to get to the Pacific? They weren't the first people there, right?
No, there have been people who reached that area by sea. They had a general idea of how wide the continent was. They did not have exact measurements. They knew it was somewhere. I think they thought like 2,000 to 3,000. They knew it was somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000.
Well, technically, they still didn't even get that exact with Lewis and Clark, at least by anywhere near today's standards.
No, but they were close.
Yeah, because there were days where they didn't see the stars to be able
Yeah.
to do the like number taking.
Yeah.
Which is so funny to me that Lewis was like, I'm just writing the numbers down, dude. I'm not doing the math.
Yeah. He was like, somebody else can do the math.
Yeah. Gom is back, says, I was close. I said 12. You were close.
That is close.
Flannel Femboy, wild for $5, says, can I be the Colts government sanctioned weaponized femboy? I can be trusted with a firearm. Go for it. I'm all in. That is the epitome of inclusion.
Okay. Sure.
I don't know what you'll do there. What other talents do you have?
I don't know if we want the answer to that question.
Can you like bake things or like sew? I don't know. We're gonna need textiles and food.
Okay.
I don't know. We got talking about so much about the South earlier. Textiles are on the mind.
Okay. That's a sentence.
I want people to feel included on the ground.
Okay. The ranch is going to be a diversity, equity, and inclusion ranch.
Not by a goal, but by a outcome.
My God.
No one is rejected except
Okay.
communists.
Okay. At least the communists aren't allowed on the ranch.
Half of this is I just like.
I like that the implication is that a certain other group of extremists is allowed on the ranch. No collectivists on the ranch.
There you go.
Although the whole point of the ranch is to kind of
We did go.
share resources in order to. Yeah, that's.
We did go over this in
It's a voluntarist ranch.
we were in the car and
I knew it.
I had to fix that so many times today. We did go over this in the car in Montana. He kept describing what the structure of the ranch is going to be like, and I kept being like, sounds like you're describing communism.
It's neo-feudalism.
And then he'd describe it more, and then I would say, it sounds like you're describing communism.
It's neo-feudalism.
And then eventually he did say, it works on a small scale, but you can't, like, industrialize it.
Yeah.
Which is valid. Which is so valid.
Communitarianism.
Communitarianism.
Neo-feudalism.
You just want to be like a lord.
Yeah.
You want to put lord in front of your name.
I did not say I would use that exact title. Maybe Baron. Or perhaps Earl.
Baron is a cool. No, well, I don't know. He does seem like the one redeemable one.
That's true. Did you see the one article that was like Barron Trump keeps asking classmates for their Discord so he can play video games with them? And it's like, yeah, that's kind of what you do.
I'm kind of
Make
surprised.
friends
Yeah.
as a 19-year-old in college.
I'm kind of surprised it's not the other way around.
Yeah.
Oh, right. It's NYU.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was there. I know what it's like. Wild place. Anyway, Rum Strains for $2 says Ohio isn't real.
That's true.
Don't I wish?
Yeah, they would have made the trip a lot shorter.
Yeah.
You know what I wish wasn't real? Chicago. Nuke that entire city off the map and make it one giant roadway.
Okay, this man had an absolute crash out while we were on the way back, going outside
Not
of Chicago.
having a good time in Chicago.
It was not. It was
It's not outside of Chicago. It was through the middle of Chicago.
No, dude, that was outside.
It was not outside of Chicago.
Yes,
we were
it
on
was.
90 the whole time.
I know. I was looking at that. No, dude, I have been through Chicago on like I can't remember what like interstate it is.
We were like a mile from the lake. I looked at the map.
So did I.
Okay, whatever you say.
Anyway, point being is that it was not a good scenario for somebody who already doesn't like cities to be in, because despite us trying to get there at not rush hour, we got there at rush hour. And
No, we got there at 2:30 in the afternoon.
yeah, for a city, that's like the beginning rush hour. Yeah. And then it was like brutally thunderstorming most of the time.
And we were also out of gas.
Yeah, and we were out of gas.
Now, when we got to Chicago, my gas range thing said we had like 100 miles. And I was like, oh, cool. We'll get gas after Chicago. And as we sat in traffic, I watched it slowly tick down further and further until we had to get gas in Chicago or risk being stuck in Chicago, in which case I would have probably ended my own life.
As somebody who's spent time in Chicago, it's like the inside of the city is nice. It's an enjoyable time. There are good places to go. Every person I've met from there is very nice. But that situation was in fact horrible.
I was not having a good time.
Yeah.
I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I would be okay with the federal government spending money to move people out of this city and relocate them somewhere else.
Which is so funny because we had a whole argument about like city versus rural living. And you were just like, I don't know why anyone would choose this. And it was funny. The reason I'm thinking about this now is because half of the people I spent last weekend with actively live and choose to live in a city.
Yeah, that's insane. Literally insane.
Yeah. There's people enjoy city things that you do not enjoy.
Like what? The smell of urine?
That is a byproduct.
You know where I have never smelled urine in my life? Appalachia. Out in the woods.
Yeah. But there's no bars in the woods. There are far less bars in the woods.
Exactly.
There are far
You
less.
just got to know the right people.
Oh, the other thing is, men, again, our age group, think about men our age. Most of them are unmarried.
Okay.
Where would you like to go to meet a lot of attractive women? The woods? Or the bars in a city?
I'm going to like the ones I find in the woods a lot more.
You are different.
Like, dude, I will find the feral people and marry the chieftain's daughter.
You have far different standards than most men.
How do you know she won't be the most attractive woman you've ever seen?
You have far different standards than most men.
That's true. My standards are don't smell like urine.
The women don't smell like urine.
Well, how can you tell? The whole city smells like it.
When was the last time you went anywhere in a city?
When we drove through Chicago.
That doesn't count. We didn't get out of the car.
Yes, I did.
Other than to get gas.
And yeah.
Did you interact with a single person?
Why would I want to? They're from Chicago.
You're making my point.
Philly doesn't always smell like urine.
Most cities don't always smell like urine.
Every time I've been to Manhattan, dude. I've never been to Manhattan and had a good time.
Because you've been there in the summer.
I've been there in the winter. I've been there in the spring and the fall.
Where were you in the winter that it smelled like piss?
It's been a while.
Okay.
I was a kid.
Considering I did live there for 4 years, like
Well, that's the thing is you just get used to it.
yeah, well, that's the other part of it too.
No, I refuse to get used to that.
Well, I mean, it's like living near farms. You get used to that too. Manure, chicken, fecal matter.
That's natural.
So is piss.
Not on a city street.
Well, the city street's not natural. The piss is.
Okay. All right. You just read the next super chat. I want to go home and go to bed.
I know, so do I.
Got me thinking about Chicago. Now I'm angry. Having a bad night. Like most Bears fans throughout the football season.
Waffles Cowpig for $5 says, update from living with a buddy and his girlfriend. Everything has been fixed. Cat still good. Great success. Nice.
Nice.
Brave SJ for $20 says, Meriwether Lewis took his own life. There was no thermite at Ground Zero. Tartaria was never a globe-spanning empire. The Finno-Korean hyperwar is just a silly joke in a shitpost. Excuse me. These are the lies they want you to believe. I will say, in terms of our plan to do a 9/11 video, I did find...
It did line up really well for next year.
It did.
It is Friday.
Yes. Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like our 9/11 video will go up. Our 25th anniversary of 9/11 video is going to go up on the 25th anniversary of 9/11.
That's nuts. But I did, because like I've got a whole playlist of stuff about that just for like research, because it's still, that is one of the few things in life that is still like I am comprehending. But one of the videos was a little 30-minute one that like briefly went over a bunch of the conspiracies. And there was a lot in there about Building 7. And there were even a lot of little details where like the firefighters had communicated to the news agencies hours ahead of time. They were like, this building's going down. They were like, the after the collapse, the debris going like down and out.
Yeah.
Because it was close enough, it just massacred the bottom floors. Not enough to take it down at the time.
Yeah.
But then the subsequent fires or whatever, like they knew as soon as the dust was starting to clear, they were searching for people in like the bottom of it. And then they literally said, it was like, we have to evacuate this building because it is coming down at some point.
Got it.
So worth investigating that. Yeah, I know people have a lot of interesting things. That's the first time I've heard details that weren't involved in the conspiracy about Building 7. So, but yeah.
What? The conspiracy theorists left parts out that would make it seem like their conspiracy theory wasn't right? Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, because there's the one thing with Jesse Ventura where because this was part of that thing where apparently one of the reasons why that fed the conspiracy of Building 7 like being a planned detonation is that there was like a CNN or like a BBC reporter that was standing in front of Building 7 saying the Building 7 has fallen. And apparently the reason for that was because they had told all the news agencies it was happening. And there were like, must have been a miscommunication because like she wasn't looking behind her. And they were planning to like essentially have it ready to rock. Yeah. That it's already gone so that when it happened, they could like share that, live. But it's just so funny hearing him be like, the BBC was like, she was standing in front of it. Like, it had to be whatever. Somebody did. There's a comedian who does a great Jesse Ventura thing. I can't do it right now. My sinuses are so blocked.
You poor man.
I know. Anyway, Waffles Cow Big for $5 says, I just wanted to update the lodge. I got my work transfer locked in. Soon I will be driving 60 miles round trip every day to work. That's horrible.
That's a lot. I'm sorry. I hope you're getting paid for that.
Yeah,
I really hope you're getting paid for your travel time.
Yeah, that would suck if you're not. Pseudo Legend for $10 says, in honor of Gombra relinquishing Windossi bodyguards, I shall find, capture, and tame the Mothman. We'll provide updates as the week has passed. Wish me luck, lads and lodge residents. Good luck.
Good luck.
Michael Elmore for $5 says, in regards to the sourcing and description, will this be in older videos? I'm still working on the cryptid codex and now looking for internet sources. The main problem, if we're able to hire someone full-time potentially, the biggest problem is that with all of the other things I do right now, I barely have time to get all of them done. Mm-hmm. And the ability for me to go through as I'm working on things and find the sources and then write them down as I'm going, it's comparatively easy. If I were to go back, rewatch everything, and then try and find them, some instances I've run into where old sources are no longer available online for whatever reason. Other issues are there are multiple sources at times that have the same image or file that I could use, and at that point I would then just be choosing which one I think it might have been, which feels a little bit revisionist, and I guess it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. So for me personally, not a high priority, primarily just because I don't have the time. Would it be something I'd love to do at some point? Yes. But as of right now, I don't have the bandwidth to be able to do that.
Yeah, I feel you.
Local Legends Burton Moran for $2 says, will you be at Mount Rushmore and look up Serenity Dennard? Have you been to Mount Rushmore? We considered
it. We also considered stopping at Wall Drug.
Yeah, Wall Drug. Oh, yeah, that was...
Wall Drug was a fever dream. And then, of course, as soon as we get home, I see an Instagram reel from Andrew Briggs mentioning Wall Drug.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. He was like, how South Dakota is a fever dream because of Wall Drug.
Yeah.
I was like, brother.
I was
like, as soon as you said South Dakota is a fever dream, I knew you were talking about Wall Drug.
Yeah. I do love that I've never heard of Wall Drug until that journey.
And now I keep hearing about Wall Drug.
Yeah, and it's going to keep coming back. I know it.
Also, if you are ever driving through South Dakota and you think to yourself, I'd like to stop in Deadwood, that seems like it might be a cool place. It's not. There was we went to a restaurant, had a sign saying best burger in town. It was a Bubba Burger. It was a Bubba Burger. You know how I know that? Because all Bubba Burgers are the same shape.
Yeah, we were also there during
there was a very interestingly dressed woman in the lobby of our hotel when we left to go to dinner.
Oh, yeah.
It's an outfit.
Well, we were there during the Sturgis motorcycle thing.
That didn't help.
Yeah, and basically half of the people for the Sturgis thing were in, I was about to say Wall Drug, we're in Deadwood at that point. So, yeah, it was very crowded.
But at the same time, we had just driven through eastern Montana, so we were like, finally civilization.
Yeah. The Black Hills are pretty.
They're gorgeous, yeah.
Yeah. Our rare engagement installer has been a member for 15 months, and Kellen, the official data, for $20. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Says, nice to see the live again. There's a perishable Portillo's package coming to the studio on the 27th for both the Aidens and the Maidens.
Oh.
Back to bed as I got the COVID after I finished 2 weeks on the road in Yellowstone. Guess who also
got COVID? Somebody picked up COVID on that trip.
Here's the thing. It was probably Amanda.
It was probably Amanda.
And then she gave it to you. And then you gave it to... Well, you gave it to Kat somehow. And then Kat gave it to me. But I'm the only one who got the GI stuff.
Yeah.
Which is apparently a thing with this strain. So tired of it. So tired of being sick. Gets old.
Being ill.
We
had a good time on that trip.
Ruined my first bachelor party weekend.
It's a very fun trip.
A good time. Yeah.
Also, I totally forgot. I meant to do this earlier in the show. We are going to Yosemite and Colorado next year.
Oh, yeah.
I keep forgetting to mention that, and I'm getting yelled at by Trova Trip. I'm going to probably post about it on the channel tomorrow. like an actual post going over both the trips and everything. But they are live on TrovaTrip. I think you can probably just go, like, I don't have the link off the top of my head, obviously, but I think you can just go to TrovaTrip's website and search for Aidan Mattis or the Lore Lodge, and we should come up.
I think some spots have already been sold.
Yeah, there have been, I think we sold like 6 spots on the Yosemite trip already, which is the cheaper of the two by about $1,000. So if you're trying to go and you want to go for the cheaper option, now is the time. And you don't have to pay all at once. You can do a quarter and then pay over time, pay as you go.
We got to figure out how, am I signed up? Am I on that already?
You are automatically, yeah.
All right, cool.
You're my companion.
Nice. Gibby for $2 says currently playing Monster Hunter while listening. Nice. The 1899 for $50. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Says, howdy fellas, remember when I mentioned the Takuhi in South Dakota? Fun fact, many of the stories of the Takuhi center around Sika Hollow, which is now a state park.
Interesting.
Sika literally means evil, and my Lakota grandfather forbade me from visiting. Interesting.
How is that spelled?
Takuhi. Taku-HE.
Okay, hang on. Taku
-HE.
There's a movie about it.
Oh, nice.
Come on. There we go. Ah, it's like their Bigfoot. I'll have to look into this.
Cool. Kai for... That's not Euro, is it? Let me know what that is. For 1270 says, hello, first time catching a live of you Lore Lodgers, and I just wanted to say that I know, literally.
That one hit.
And I just wanted to say I really appreciate your content. P.S. The postcard in your Patreon bonus jump scared my mom. Much love from Germany.
The what? Oh, the Wendigo. There's a Wendigo postcard in the Patreon bundle.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's the one Norman designed forever ago.
Oh.
A little mini print.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, by the way, if you sign up for the Patreon at the tiers above $1, you do get like little trinkets after 3 months. Like I think the $100 tier, you get like a sweatshirt, a t-shirt, a mug, a canvas print, like a lot of stuff.
Good. So they are still doing that then?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, yeah. I set that up forever ago. That just runs.
Yeah, no, I wasn't sure that was still like a thing that was happening. Nice. RB Irrigation Installer for 556 Nice says, I woke up from my nap to hear this podcast. We missed y'all. Thanks for always leaving us Friday videos so we can get our fix even when you're away.
Thank you. Yeah, we made sure to have those ready to go.
Yeah.
Ready to rock.
It hurt.
It did hurt.
It was...
It was not the easiest of times.
So many things happened in life that I was left making 5 videos in about a week and a half.
It was not good.
No, it wasn't. But we did it.
We did do it. And then we actually went to La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And both of us were kind of like, yeah, you'd have to like deliberately walk over here. You can't really accidentally get here if you're trying to go home.
No,
you at the very least have to deliberately walk to the park.
Yes.
And even then, you got to like walk all the way across the park. Like you got to, as a guy, you got to be like, nah, I'm not going to pee on any of these trees. I want to go pee in the river.
Yep. Which, if for some, makes sense. Not all.
Yeah.
Griff for $10 says, also, I really think you should reconsider making a video about Mormon history. Nothing about the current religious beliefs, just Joseph Smith, the Exodus to Utah, and maybe the Black Hawk Wars. I will say, I was just listening to the second episode of, what's his name, Alex Hunter or something? The agnostic guy on...
Alex O'Connor.
Alex O'Connor. I was just listening to his part 2 on Flagrant while I was assembling that. And part of what they were discussing, he went into a little tangent about Joseph Smith and some of the history of the LDS stuff. Mm-hmm. It's actually really interesting.
I know. Oh, yeah.
Like a lot of stuff I had never heard before. And I was just like, that is... Like, I feel like nobody really talks about this stuff. That could be an interesting topic.
Yeah, they get kind of mad if you do.
See, some of that stuff I like. I can imagine certain elements where they'd get pissed. Like some of that, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like the one thing that I thought was funny, and obviously from his perspective, like, you know, being an intentional fence sitter, this is very interesting to him. But like their argument of having like 13 firsthand accounts of the tablets, which and you know, like them fighting with Christians and being like, and how many firsthand accounts of the resurrection do you have? Like that is entertaining.
Yeah. Ours are 2,000 years older, and
Yeah. They were talking about that. They were like, yeah, and at the time, like people were talking about it the same way they were talking about it there.
that's true.
But
It's more the fact that like where'd they go,
yeah,
and why does the Egyptian on them not match actual Egyptian?
and why did you need? Well, apparently it's a like special kind of hieroglyphic.
Of course, you know that only Joseph Smith can read.
Yes, exactly. With a hat over his eyes.
Yeah.
Again, I think it would be interesting to cover this.
Part of the reason I haven't is because I like our Mormon followers and I don't want to offend them, and I don't know that I could
That's fair.
do it without being condescending.
That's fair. At least you know that about yourself.
Yeah. I still think it's really funny that Brigham Young was like going through the mountains in like the Wasatch Mountains, and he was like, God has cleared a path for us. And that was the exact path blazed by James Reed in 1846.
Yeah. Well, I also didn't know that Joseph Smith was killed while attempting to run for president.
Yeah. By a mob.
Yeah. Nuts.
Yeah. And then Brigham Young was like, everything that guy said, but now I get to have multiple wives.
Yeah, that was all another part. I genuinely,
to be fair to Joseph Smith, that part was not on him.
yeah, I genuinely forgot that Joseph Smith was like a real person.
Yeah.
And it wasn't started by Brigham Young.
No.
Because in my head for a while, I was like, oh yeah, Brigham Young. He's the guy who did like Mormonism.
I mean, in a big way, yeah.
Yeah.
The religion is what he made it.
Yeah.
Joseph Smith also wrote himself into Genesis.
Yeah. Didn't he add like how many passages ahead of the first?
I can't remember. But there is one, like at the very end of Genesis, he like adds himself into it. And you're like, come on, man. Like somehow everyone else missed that for 2,000 years. Not even for 3,000 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I can try and see if I can be nice.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Ryder's been a member for a month. Thank you. Abstract Egg. There we go. Okay. Abstract Egg for 536. Nice. Says, have y'all heard about Love Canal? It was an ecological catastrophe that went on for decades. Y'all and Steven might find it interesting. I want us to do a video on that so badly.
If Kat wants to write it.
That's the thing. Well, maybe we'll get her.
Or at least give me like the bullet points, and I can write the script if she can give me the facts.
Well, do you know how that ended?
Didn't the government end up buying out all the land and moving them away?
More specifically, like the climax of that story.
No.
So it was basically a bunch of housewives that like were looking into it, and it was like these are people who grew up there who, when they were kids, they were like playing by a lagoon outside of the school where you look like a pastime was hitting rocks together and watching them catch fire. Yeah, it was that toxic for that long.
Wow.
Anyway, so this is why, ladies and gentlemen, regulation on industries is sometimes a good thing. Anyway, so they grew up in this area and they started having kids and they were noticing a lot of birth defects and things like that. And they were like, there's got to be something going on here.
Yeah.
And then so they started putting all the pieces together, but like nobody was accepting responsibility. Nobody was doing anything about it. The local government was doing very little. They did end up getting enough of a groundswell to make some changes, but they kept hitting roadblocks. And it got to the point where the like newly created EPA was finally sent out there. The like leader of this movement took them hostage, like just EPA? In her home. Based. Based. In her home, demanding that she would not let them loose until she got a personal call from Jimmy Carter that they would like fix the problem. and he called. Yeah. And
That's amazing.
And that's how, have you heard of Superfund sites?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how that started.
Wow.
Is as a result of that event, they then created like a administration within the EPA where they went out to all of these different communities, tested for a bunch of stuff, and anywhere that there was a Superfund site that was, to exist, it was like cordoned off, and then it was paid to essentially remediate the area. We have so many of them around us. It's insane.
I believe that.
I actually just looked at our, because there's another, oh no, this wasn't Climate Town. There was another thing, but I was watching a video about water, and it's specifically how like bottled water is like exorbitantly expensive, and like why do we do this?
Most water isn't safe.
Well, it's the thing. It is, but the thing is that what is scientifically safe versus legally safe are two very different things, and legally safe is one thing. Scientifically safe generally is far more stringent.
Yeah.
And so there's a website where you can go online. It's like a government, I can't remember what it was, but you can look up the contaminants in your local water supply. You can search by zip code and then find your specific area. And dude, we have like 41 times the amount of allowable chloroform in our water in Phoenixville.
In our tap water?
Yes.
Like that we drink out of the sink? Oh.
Yeah, and there's like 600 times another
Get a
thing.
filter.
Yeah, filter would be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of PFAS in there too. That's the stuff that was used to
They
make
just
Teflon.
not going to do anything about it?
They are. The problem is that the legal amounts that were set like decades ago, now after like years of science getting better, we're realizing we're like way too high. Like they're still very dangerous.
Is Kyle Hill making any videos about that?
He's still in the nuclear thing, but there are other
It would be
channels.
nice if some of the bigger guys.
Oh, there are some big like million plus channels that are talking about
good
this stuff. Yeah, no, it's good. I think what did Veritasium just recently do a video on?
I don't know.
I can't remember. It was something in this.
I watch so little YouTube
That's it.
now.
Yeah, Veritasium just did the video on C8 and PFAS and how that has contaminated everything. If you want to, if you really want to be anxious about something and you want to hate the government for not regulating things, watch Veritasium's. It's like a 53-minute video. He put it out like 2 weeks ago. It's already got 20 million views. Yeah, it's one of his best videos by far. And it just goes through how all the people who made Teflon, how they were just dumping the catalyst into the water supply. And it was causing like incredible amounts of like just death and illness in the area. The government regulated it. And then the industries like changed the molecular formula by like 2 atoms and then started using it again. And that is actually worse because they took off a couple carbons, which made it more mobile, which made it more easily maneuverable in your body to damage things. And the problem is that there are 14,000 different versions of PFAS out there, and only one of them is currently being legislated because the legislation takes so long, and the corporations just keep like changing them.
And they wonder why Green Mario happened.
Yeah.
Maybe we need more.
In Minecraft.
Just saying that Jefferson quote does not only have to apply to the government. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, the tree.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, Veritasium's video, there's a lot of great stuff online about all that stuff. It's good. We're not the only fun channel out there. Giddy for $5 says, off topic, Weird Bible is one of my favorite shows on YouTube. Keep up the great work. I did see that that episode 20 went live. Did you put that up?
Yeah.
Okay. Already 13K views.
Woo.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm starting to think the recorded content might be where it's at.
I think for Weird Bible it makes a lot more sense to do than recorded.
Yeah.
Ahead of time.
Yeah. We'll see about it. We're trying. Yeah. We're trying. Ryder for $2 says, I'm so happy the show's back. We're happy to be back.
Thank you.
Kellen's back for $10 saying having backup plans in parentheses handheld GPS GMRS radio combo is why you didn't have to cover my disappearance when the Jeep broke down off road in the Tetons. It was my fault, not the Jeep. Be prepared, everybody. Also, didn't know you were going to the Tetons. How was it? Because after Washburn and seeing them and how like gorgeous they looked, I want to go so badly.
Yeah. It was kind of crazy thinking about like being on top of Mount Washburn and looking out over Yellowstone Lake. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's where that guy was lost.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny listening to that episode after you had recorded it. And I was
You had been to that lake.
Exactly, yeah. And it was just like, and just the whole area. And because like we did the hike around the Grand Canyon, or the Yellowstone Grand Canyon, and then obviously Washburn, and just seeing like on the map, like all the different mountains that were named after these guys. And then looking at Everett's Mountain, I was like, you shouldn't have been named that.
No.
You did not deserve that name.
No.
Let's keep Denali. Let's rename Everett's.
To McKinley.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Let's rename Everett's Mountain, or Mount Everett's, to Mount McKinley. I'm all behind that.
I do think it's really funny that when Trump was like, we're calling it McKinley again, Alaska was like, we have literally never called it McKinley.
Yeah. Also, like, sorry, Denali's such a cooler name.
It's a much cooler name.
Yeah. Also, like, that's the name of the
Mount Denali and give it McKinley Peak or something like that.
Yeah.
It's got 2 peaks.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going. I would like to sleep.
So would I. Telemachus 2814 has been a member for 4 months.
Thank you.
Sir Small Medicine. I was trying to remember which one we went with. For $20 says, over the weekend I binged and finished every episode of History Unhinged that was up on YouTube. I have no life and I'm happy to give my free time to watching your guys' videos.
Thank you.
Thanks
That's
very
a lot
much.
of videos.
It is.
History Unhinged is a great show. We're having fun with that.
It might be my favorite thing we do at this point.
It's a lot of fun.
It is. Arbor Irrigation Installer.
Sorry, History Unhind.
Unhinged.
Yeah. No, there's only one N. That's Unhind.
Oh, yeah.
Or Unhinted.
Hinted.
Unhinted.
Unhinted.
Yeah.
Unhin ed, like education.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
What do you think, Anglo-Saxon helmet guy?
Same.
Same.
Based. Arbor Irrigation Installer for 223 says, please play F, Marry, Kill with the first and second triumvirates. We have to do that tomorrow.
We're doing that tomorrow.
Yep. But the problem is we have to remember to do that tomorrow.
We got to remember to do that
I'm
tomorrow.
going to take a picture of that.
Okay.
Problem is, I have no stake in that because I know nothing about either of them.
I'm going to have to remember what they were.
Okay, at least I'm not alone.
The first one I remember. The second one I always screw up.
Fair.
First one's Pompey, Crassus, and Caesar. And I'm absolutely killing Crassus.
Oh, I was going to say, is it too on the nose to kill Caesar?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Caesar might be a tender lover.
That would then equate to marry, I feel.
Yeah.
Let's save it for tomorrow.
Save it for tomorrow.
For tomorrow. Violently American for $10 says, I like how you support Grant's General Orders number 11. Okay.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, somebody booked for Yosemite.
Nice.
Told you guys. Grant's General Order 11.
Oh, boy. All right. Oh, God. An anti-Semitic decree that expelled all Jews from his military district in the American Civil War, encompassing parts of Tennessee, Mississippi, and Kentucky. Grant blamed the Jewish community for the illegal cotton black market, and although the order was quickly revoked by Lincoln due to public outrage, it remains a notorious example of anti-Jewish discrimination in history. Oh, God.
I did not have Ulysses S. Grant.
That wasn't on the list.
Jews from the military on my list.
That was not on the expectations list. All right.
Ulysses S. Grant being like the Jews did slavery.
No, black market cotton sales.
Black market cotton
That
sales.
was it. It wasn't slavery. It was specifically black market cotton sales.
Well, were the blacks not taking the cotton to market for sales?
No. I don't know.
Really bad wording. Under
Yeah.
the circumstance.
All right, so
Black market cotton sales.
wasn't perfect.
Oh,
What a random wild take.
Grant is no. You just know Grant was sitting there with some of the other officers, absolutely blitzed one night.
Annihilated.
He's like, I don't want him here, and they're like, well, sir, we can't just kick him out. And he's like, they're selling cotton to the blacks at market. And they're like, black market cotton sales? And he's like, whatever.
I don't trust him. Oh, God.
Grant's like, from the river to the sea, brother.
Oh, my God.
And they're all like, what does that mean?
You guys might not ready for that, but your kids are going to love it. Oh, God. Anyway. Ruckasu the Great for $5 says, I guess that makes Grant the platonic ideal of a leader. Yeah. Technically. Somebody who consistently no, not the no, the fact that he didn't want to be a leader consistently. An imperfect one. You broken.
The timing was too good. Oh boy.
We gotta wrap. I gotta order food.
Yeah. How many more of these do we have?
We're at 7:36.
You kill me.
I know.
Holy shit. I love you guys so much. Thank you. This helps the show stay alive. But oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry. Keep going.
Real tears. Real tears. All right. He's broken. He's been broken. All right. Arbor Irrigation Installer 223. Can we have a prayer request channel in Discord?
Probably. I guess that doesn't seem wrong.
Yeah. I think that's valid.
Yeah. We already have a religion discussion one, so how bad could it possibly get?
There we go. Sir Small Medicine
Yes.
says for $10, does this mean that Clark was accidentally the best wingman for... Oh, we already did that one. Nice. Hurricane Maddie for $10 says, wait till Yins find out the radiation cereal bowl experiments. We've been talking about...
Oh, yeah, we know about those.
Yeah,
I've just been trying to decide if they would be, like, good for the algorithm.
Yeah. I feel like, well...
Well, the Tuskegee experiment one still,
Dude, everything's been a toss-up lately.
Well, yeah, we put one out that was our typical content on Friday, and YouTube was like, no, not good enough.
Yeah, it's kind of brutal.
I mean, the one we shot today is about two brothers who went missing 10 years apart in Alaska under mysterious circumstances, so at least that's...
Something.
Right.
Yeah. Also saying, I also wonder how many missing kids were just thrown into mental hospitals / gotten rid of, kind of like in the movie Trick or Treat.
Okay, first of all, I've never seen Trick or Treat, so did not know that was the plot there.
That's...
Yeah, I mean, if they were homeless and unclaimed, probably a lot of them.
Unclaimed? That's just a funny word for it.
Well, I mean, in Philadelphia, they put a boy in a box.
They did.
And nobody found out who he was for, like, 60 years.
Don't like the first thing that came into my mind when you said that.
Where's the bonk stick?
No.
No?
Oh, wait. Oh, where's the bonk stick?
Yeah.
I thought you were making a 7 reference
No.
for a second. Yeah, no.
You're awful.
I know.
All right, next.
That's just pattern-seeking brain go burr.
Okay.
Miss Maury for $20 says, apparently syphilis in the Americas was like chickenpox. It wasn't severe. They'd get it as kids and overcome it. They'd get it as kids?
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
How? Tell me how. Tell me how.
Like it was... Yeah, what do you mean by that? I'm going to look into that one.
Yeah, that's... Anyway, the Europeans had no defense, then killed natives and screwed up their herd immunity, then give it back. It is kind of funny that we talk about how we brought a bunch of disease here and it killed a bunch of natives, and we don't talk about the reverse.
Yeah. They gave us not smallpox, they gave us syphilis.
Yeah. I guess because we were technically the aggressor, so that's fair. I say we. None of the people in my family ever did that.
Yeah, same. We stopped here
Yeah.
after.
Yeah. Earliest my family came here was 1785. Sorry, no,
Go us.
Yes. Sorry, 1765, because he was in the revolution, and he was a POW for 2 years, and his wife did become one of the Molly Pitcher women.
Yeah.
After the British burned her house down, and she watched it with the children from a field.
Yep.
And she went to find his commanding officer and said, "Hey, I need help."
That was another thing. Lewis was aggressively Anglophobic because his family was a real life victim of the actual historical version of Colonel Tavington.
Oh yeah, yeah. What is it that they did?
His name was Tarleton.
Yeah.
Yeah, they burned down a plantation that belonged to his family. God. He was not a fan of the English.
Yeah, understandably so. All right. Brave SJ for $2 says, was this tribe by any chance the Blackfoot? Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know when.
No,
what?
that's not what was said. It wasn't the Blackfoot. There were 2 extra letters in there.
What?
The Black ED foot.
Bad. A little bit funny, but bad.
Yes. Stir Small Medicine for $10 says, "I'm loving this name. You might have to change your name."
You might have to.
Says, "In your opinions, what would be better as a first YouTube video topic? The USS Johnston or Lavinia Fisher?" What was the USS Johnston? What one was that?
I have no idea what either of these things are. Which is, I will say, probably not a good sign. USS Johnston.
Let's be fair. I feel like we're reaching the point where we're going to have to start finding things that
Oh, yeah, for sure.
not a ton of people know about.
I mean, did something interesting happen to it?
I would imagine it would have had to.
It's the deepest shipwreck ever found.
Yeah, but that's not...
Oh, wait. Okay, I think I remember what this one was now. Yeah, it was a lone destroyer, I believe, that basically held the line against the Japanese fleet.
So
while the rest of the carrier group escaped, if I remember correctly.
I love that.
That is a good one, yeah.
That's a History Unhinged thing.
Well, he was asking for him, I think.
Oh, right. Duh, I misunderstood that. Well, what's Lavinia Fisher?
Yeah, I don't know about that one, but the Johnston is that's a good one.
Oh, she's an American serial killer.
Oh, I would say that one because that one will definitely get more views.
Lavinia Fisher was an American criminal who, according to urban legends, was the first female serial killer in the United States of America. She was married to John Fisher, and both were convicted of highway robbery, capital offense at the time, but not murder. This was it, and she was born in 1793 in Charleston. No way!
Wow,
I just was there last weekend. Is that actually her? No, that's got to be a...
That's a sketch for sure. All right, yeah. I would say that one.
Yeah.
Especially because she died when she was what? 27?
Yeah. She's in the 27 club.
Hey!
Yo.
Hey, in a couple of months, I'll be safe.
Oh, yeah. Dun, dun.
Ah. Although with how much this wedding is going to cost.
Oh, and then Millennial Gamer was talking about the Garth Brooks serial killer thing.
Yeah.
We should do that.
I might have to.
Yeah. Adam Pop for $9.99 says, "I'm going to start telling people..."
I had bodies in low places.
Adam Pop said, "I'm going to start telling people that Lewis and Clark introduced black magic to the West." I mean...
I have made an error. I have made a mistake. I should not have told our audience about this. I thought too highly of them. I thought they were mature enough.
Really?
I have caused problems.
Jack, clip that.
They will too.
Yeah.
I want to go to bed.
I know, so do I. Maria Heller Designs for Ron 25. Don't know what that is. Aiden's, please cover Flight 571, 1972 Andes crash, survival, cannibalism, faith, wild true story needs a deep dive. Okay, I was gonna say we're 1 for 2 on plane crashes, but the cannibalism might able to be good.
No, Jack, clip that.
No, think about it.
We're 1 for 2 on plane crashes, but the cannibalism may make this one good.
No, here's the thing. Though. Imagine the title. The plane crash that caused cannibalism?
Yeah, I know.
Based?
I have PTSD from MH17.
I know you
not from like being there, because I wasn't, but because I am still angry about how painful that was to make and how poorly it did.
It's a shame because it's an interesting story.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
You know what? I think it got Philadelphia experimented,
Yeah.
which sucks because that was a good story too.
Yeah. That was a good one.
Oh well. Quiet Dignity and Grace for $2 says adult Burke interview soon. Christmas?
I'm gonna track him down and tie him to the radiator
Yes.
for decades and decades and decades.
Just be like, there's no way this flashlight could do this to you, right? So what are you afraid of?
Oh my god! Just throw a pineapple at him. This remind you of anything, Burke?
Yeah, just dump pineapple and milk onto him. Are you hungry?
Just be like, here's an N64. You like that, you little shit?
Oh god.
Oh boy. I did show Amanda that the grapist.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she was very concerned.
I am very entertained by how many Whitest Kids You Know skits are being revitalized.
Oh yeah.
Just because of the amount of things that are happening in history that are repeating themselves and are relevant again. Like the
Is by any chance did we invade Iran today?
literally what I was going to bring up. Yeah.
You got me. I shouldn't have gone so far with the space wizard.
The Moon Bears.
Yeah, the moon. No, it's like you had me going until the moon bears.
So good.
We also watched. They have a movie that they made called "The Civil War on Drugs."
No way.
It's incredible. It starts off and you're like, oh, this is rough. This is a hard watch. And then you get a little further into it and you're like, this is the best satire I've ever seen.
Is there like a good movie about how the CIA was responsible for the drug trade in the 80s? Because I feel like that would be a rockin' movie. Like imagine a Guy Ritchie movie about that.
A rockin' movie.
Like rocks.
Crack rock.
Yeah. Again, wasn't intentional.
I know. Keep reading the super chat.
We're actually almost done. We're almost done.
Headache.
Duo Black Rose for $2 says, check the pics I dropped in Thornbussy for R&T. I don't know what R&T is, but I'm assuming it's related to something that we were talking about. And then the last one from Spoopy Autumn.
Heartburn, sorry.
All good. It's loading.
The
Is this the festival? Oh, it's just a ton of heavy equipment. That's awesome.
read Autumn's thing.
There's steam tractors.
I know. Just read Autumn's thing.
All right.
Autistic piece of shit.
You love me though, right?
I'm gonna tie you to the radiator.
Can I be a den mother? I can cook and garden.
I don't know what den mother necessarily means, but I assume it has something to do with the ranch.
Yeah. I believe it's that. I also think it has essentially the equivalence of like the woman who runs the tavern kind of vibe.
That seems fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
We could use that.
Yeah, we can get behind that. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
That was it? Before 8?
Oh, no, that was everything because there was only like 4 that came in after 8. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Praise the Lord.
Fitting because I did order from Tiffin.
Yo, I should have thought of that.
There's still time. I think they're still open.
No. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I think Amanda's home and she'll be mad if I get Indian, not for me or not for her.
I mean, you could.
Plus, it's a lot of money.
They are expensive.
Yeah.
I hit confirm before looking at the total.
And then you're like,
yeah, I was like, why'd I do that?
yeah, it's so good though.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Well, chat, it has been so very real. Thank you for being here. And we will see you next week.
We will. We don't know what we're going to talk about, but we'll be.
No idea what we're going to talk about. We'll have some brand new shenanigans to tell of.
Yeah, I guess we could have talked about Everts beyond just the fact that he didn't deserve the mountain.
Yeah, but I had more fun talking about Lewis and Clark.
So did I. Should we talk about Everts next week?
Maybe. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll actually have an interesting topic to talk about next week because apparently Everts wasn't interesting enough for YouTube, for its algorithm. All right. Well, thanks, guys. We will see you on the next one. Check out Friday's video if you are interested in coming with us to Yosemite or to the Colorado Rockies Trovo trip. I'll put a link up tomorrow, and we will see you on the next one. Bye.